is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Nice and strong. Welcome to DBL, everyone. It's Hump Day, Wednesday, June 2nd. I'm Tori here with Brandon and Al, looking wonderful. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good. Good to be back.
Good.
I feel like I've been, you said Wednesday. I was like, oh,
no.
I haven't been here in a couple days.
We made it Hump Day. I'm excited. All right. We want to get to the stories because these videos are going to blow your mind. What would you do if you saw a wild animal attacking your dog? Would you fight to protect your furry friend? Well, check out this viral video of a 17-year-old taking on a mama bear. The bear is walking along the wall. That's when the dog starts confronting the intruder. Then the 17-year-old checks on her dogs, takes on the bear, pushes it off, gets her dogs, runs back in to safety. My word, that girl has now posted an update on TikTok talking about what happened, so let's check it out.
Her name is Valentina. She is the baby. And as her slave, I have to protect her, so I go over to the bear. I look it in the eyes, and the first thing I think to do is push it. Push a bear. Push an apex predator, man. And to be honest, I don't think I, pushed her that hard. I just pushed her enough to make her, lose her balance. So she drops my dog, and I run out of there. I grab my other dog. I sprained my finger and screwed my knee, but we're all okay. We're over here.
That is so Gen X-y, the way that was just told. What do you think of this video, and would you take on a mama bear to protect your dogs?
No.
Thank you.
No, I don't. I think there's a difference, I think, in mentality when you have babies. There's something where you're just I have kids, and if I go out there, my chances are, I don't know, 1 in 1,000 this could work out well. But I think that the bear was so caught off guard that it's almost like when the smallest kid in the school punches the bully, and they're like, what? No one's ever done this. Even big kids don't do this.
What do you think, Brandon? Would you be able to do it?
Absolutely not. I think the most heroic thing I've done for one of my dogs, when I lived in Florida, I guess it was her first time, because I rescued her. It was her first time seeing an iguana, and she chased it, jumped into the canal, and I jumped into the canal, grabbed this dog.
That's something.
But that's it. But when it comes to a bear,
gators in that canal?
That's what I'm saying. Like I felt like Bear Grylls for a moment.
Yeah,
I did
don't know.
it. But where I'm from,
not a bear. That's an iguana.
Okay, and here's where I'm from. If there's a stray pit bull on the street, we don't walk out the house, let alone a bear.
No, I hear you. And to be honest, it's 2 mama bears right there. She was a mama bear of those dogs.
Would you do it for Josie Boo Boo?
1,000,000%.
Really?
And I completely believe you. 100%.
I would. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, I would be worried about the bear.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, she loves her dogs. You can say whatever you want. That woman loves her dogs.
I'm telling you, I don't joke around. All right, we didn't get a chance to mention it yesterday, but June is Pride Month.
Yes.
So a big happy Pride to all our LGBTQ plus friends. We love you, we support you, we see you. And speaking of Pride, there's a video that's gone viral out of Washington State. It shows what happens to a boat after its passengers were allegedly harassing another group flying their pride flag from their boat. Karma appears to have hit the rude boaters, who apparently taunted and spun in circles around the boat. At one point, a woman even flicked them off. But then the boat burst into flames, and everyone on board had to abandon ship. The boat with the pride flag, yes, took the high ground and helped them out of the water. So this video has us asking, do you believe in karma? DBL Nation, what do you think? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Is there karma, Brandon?
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
That's
what that was, right?
I think we can move on.
A hitman says before you leave this planet.
I would have made them tread in water for quite some time now. Like, you know, my sister has come out. She's LGBTQ, and I see the stares. I see how people are to her. So I think I would have. I know I would have been petty, but you know, she didn't text me back when I asked her what she would have done. So I was trying to go straight to the source.
We're on at 10:30.
You gotta go.
Yeah, respond to a brother. You know what, Brandon? I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I'm a comic. I love awkward interactions. Like, I love it. I would have just liked to just pick them up and just be like, sup? Like, do you understand the awkwardness that's gonna be like, hey, y'all good? Wow. Like, let's discuss this now. Turn your engine off. Like, we're not going anywhere.
Silence.
We're gonna sit
Waves
this moment.
Lapping.
Or, Tori, do you get drunk with them and
what
have
would
fun?
Buddha say?
It's a boat.
Okay,
Buddha philosophy.
so this is really hard. In Buddhism, karma is what you burn up from your past lives.
Like
so if you had an issue with someone in your past life, you can burn it up in this life by being okay with them and being generous to them. So I would want to say that I'd ask them in, but I might let them tread water for just a little bit.
Really?
A little bit.
You don't know how well somebody could swim, but I mean.
I don't know. I'm not into that. All right, final vote. 92%, do you believe in karma? Strong majority say yes.
But what about, do you believe in love?
Do you believe in love? All right. It's starting to feel more and more like summer, and in a lot of places, pools have finally reopened, but there's no pool like this pool. It just opened in London. I don't know if y'all have seen it. Here it is. It's the London Sky Pool. It's 115 feet in the air. The 83-foot pool is suspended between 2 skyscrapers. It has a glass bottom. I gotta know, would you swim in it?
Absolutely, sign me up. I might be going to London during our break to run some of my football camps. I'm already ready. I'm ready.
That doesn't freak you out at all?
Absolutely not. I mean, I've swam in a Vegas pool before, and if I didn't die from that, I'm not worried about it.
Well, you could tell Brandon, ex-athlete body over here. For me, I don't even know if like seeing me from the front would be good. Plus, seeing me, that's a lot for me to ask the townspeople.
People look up and they're like, what is that?
360 degrees of Al. No, I don't know. I don't know about that. Tori, would you feel comfortable?
I think it'd be a challenge. I think it'd be scary for anyone with heights or a water issue. It'd be absolutely terrifying. But I think we're going to start seeing this in Singapore, and we're going to see this in major Dubai.
I was going to say, do they have it in Dubai?
No, this is the first one, as I read, if you had listened. But that's interesting.
They have everything first in Dubai.
I know.
Are they slacking over there?
I think so, because this looks rad.
Yeah, I'll do it. I want to do it.
Brandon's going to jump in. All right, before we go to break, we've got one last viral video for you. Check out what happened at this graduation ceremony at Wilberforce University in Ohio on Sunday.
Because you represent the best of your generation, we wish to give you a fresh start. So therefore, the Wilberforce University Board of Trustees has authorized me to forgive any debt.
That is life-changing. That is life-changing for those
you know,
students.
Brandon, I'm looking at it, and we showed at the end of the block, so it's kind of like, oh, it's just a cute little story. But do you understand the different choices you get to make in life without this debt, in terms of when you can buy a home, when you can get married, what kind of car you're going to drive, where you can live? All because of that last sentence he made.
Even pursuing an advanced degree. You know, my little brother, I never had to get student loans. My little brother works for the Clippers now out in LA.
Right.
He's always broke all the time because, one, the cost of living in LA, but he's always paying back student loans. So
that go
you
up
can
with
just hear
interest.
it.
I have friends of mine that their student loans are $600 to $800 a month, and I know people are like, "Well, I did it. Why can't you?" It's almost like if they're like, "I bought a car when I was in college, but yeah, that car was $10,000. I bought the same car, and it's $260,000."
Exactly. You know,
and so people have to understand we have to have some fairness, because eventually it's going to benefit you. Those young married couples are going to move to your neighborhood, get the school system better, make your home more valuable.
Lift up everybody.
This is how the process works. We cannot have a generation saddled with debt that does not have children, that does not buy homes. It does not work for our economy.
And that's what we're starting to see, a birth decline, because the privileged can only have kids now because it's so expensive at
Some
this
people
point.
Can't have more than one pet.
Of course not. And I do want to say, when I really learned mostly about student debt was when Michelle and Barack Obama, when he was president, was like, I just paid off my student loans.
Yes.
Like the year before he became president. And I was like, now we're talking. Coming up on DBL, a college student vanishes on his way home for winter break. Why nothing adds up in this true crime chronicles. Plus, a personal look at Dr. Fauci through his emails. What his correspondence is revealing about how he handled the very first days of the pandemic. Stay with us.
Closed captioning provided by
Amazon's latest feature is making a lot of headlines because it will automatically enroll anyone who owns one of its devices into a program to share their internet connection. Let's connect the dots. The program is called Amazon Sidewalk. The company says a small portion of your internet bandwidth will be pooled together with small chunks from your neighbors. Amazon says it'll make its devices work better and help locate lost items. This affects people who have Echo devices, Ring floodlight, and Spotlight cameras. It all gets switched on June 8th. The whole point of this is to extend the range of low bandwidth devices. So if your network goes down, your Echo Dot can still work by sharing connectivity with neighbors who have similar devices. It will also help tile trackers work better. Those are the little devices designed to keep track of important items. They can use Amazon Sidewalk to be more efficient and accurate. Obviously, some folks have raised security concerns about this sharing situation. Amazon says it has multiple layers of privacy and security to protect your personal information. But bottom line, you also have the option to opt out. If you have a Ring device, go to the Control Center on the app or their website. If you have an Echo device, go to Settings in the Alexa app.
moms working in from home during the pandemic. Hey, Jody. Hello, my love. The music stops. It becomes dramatic. All right. We're getting some insight into how much pressure Dr. Fauci was under during the pandemic. So BuzzFeed News published a 3,200 pages of emails he received from January to June 2020. The emails were from his team, celebrities. Even Mark Zuckerberg chimed in about building a coronavirus information hub on Facebook. Or in some cases, they were just from complete strangers looking for guidance. Like one woman who thought Fauci was being muzzled by Vice President Pence. She wrote, "This is quite terrifying, especially since Trump has already shown his desire to spread false or incomplete information about this public health crisis." She also added, "I'm planning to fly domestically tomorrow. Is it safe?" Well, Fauci responded saying, "There is much information. I've actually not been muzzled at all by the vice president. And by the way, it is safe to fly domestically." So what do you think of all these emails? This has got to be the most exhausted human being on this planet. He single-handedly, in my opinion, lifted us up out of what we could have drowned in as the coronavirus. Al, what do you think?
I think we're showing these emails. What about how many death threats that he's gotten?
Yeah,
How many death threats did this man that has worked for his entire life on things like Ebola, H1N1, things that everybody's
AIDS.
like, oh, I don't really know about that. There's a reason that you don't know about it. It's because people caught it in time, and there's a reason that we were able to come up with a vaccine this quickly. It's because it was very similar to H1N1, and we'd already done a lot. We had already done a lot of the footwork, so he deserves a lot of praise. Brandon, I don't know if I could have done it, man.
Absolutely not.
I don't know. He got a lot of hate, and I'd have been like, okay,
And
good
he
luck.
was stoic about it.
Yeah, good luck with the internet.
We were just talking back there by the bubbler that I don't think I could handle that pressure of being in that leadership position. Because, I mean, when you think about it from a sports world point of view, like that pressure is a privilege. To be Naomi Osaka and be #1 and to drop out because for your mental health, to be LeBron James and consistently have to put a team on your back and hit a game-winning shot every game. They don't have thousands or millions of lives that if you get something wrong, they're dead.
Wow.
So
It's
that
life or
pressure
death
is a privilege in that sense. And it looks from now, it looks like he handled it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, he got back to random strangers. First off, we don't have a bubbler. What is a bubbler?
Bubbler, it's a water fountain.
Water fountain.
Oh.
Spent some time across the pond.
Oh.
And I'll also say this, you mentioned athletes, but really quickly, Tori, athletes have been in front of people since they were 5 or 6 years old.
Right.
Dr. Fauci, I did medical research for 2 years. We're nerds.
Yeah, you're in a lab
quiet
alone.
lab, and then
You're
all of a sudden you're the most famous person on the planet. Like, what would you have done?
Well, take this picture. This is a picture I've loved of Dr. Fauci from, he was 74 at the time, and when they were saying, you can't go in to treat Ebola patients, he said, I don't want any other doctor thinking I wouldn't do it myself. So he suited up and started treating them himself. And that's who I think Dr. Fauci is. He is someone of leadership that walks the walk and talks the talk. Coming up on DBL, was a college student's mysterious disappearance a freak accident? Or is there something more sinister here? The bizarre case and True Crime Chronicles, that's coming up next.
A viewer sent us an email that says they've seen multiple posts online that claim that COVID-19 has a 99.9% recovery rate. It's not true.
I don't know where that number comes from.
Our sources are Dr. Kausar Talat, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Aditi Narukar, a physician from the Harvard Medical School, and the COVID-19 statistics from the CDC. The latest numbers for the CDC show of the more than 33 million cases in the United States, more than 595,000 people have died.
So you can say 98% of people who get COVID don't die, but 2% do. And those 2% are almost 600,000 people in the United States alone. And that's 600,000 family members and relatives.
However, our experts also say the number of COVID-19 deaths may be underreported.
One of the key reasons is because when the health system is burdened from surges, it's difficult to track which deaths were due to an emerging infectious disease, in this case, COVID.
Finally, if 99.9% of COVID-19 cases recovered, that would mean only around 3,300 people would have died. Instead, it's closer to 600,000 people that died. So this 99.9% claim is false. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Bradley. Welcome back to DBL. The disappearance of Jason Landry is one of the most bizarre cases to baffle Texas investigators in years. How did this college student vanish on his way home for winter break? Here's the story in DBL's True Crime Chronicles.
Jason Landry was a 21-year-old student at Texas State University.
Jason's our baby. It doesn't matter how old they are, they're still yours.
He was supposed to head home to family for winter break, but something happened no one can figure out. It was December 13th, 2020. Jason left his apartment at Texas State in San Marcos and was headed to his parents' home in Missouri City. His cell phone records paint a picture of his timeline that night. At 10:55, he's tracked leaving. Around 11:30, he heads onto Highway 80. That's when his phone stopped using the Maps app and switched to Snapchat. His phone then went dark. And then, about an hour later,
His car was found at about 12:30, engine running, lights on.
a state trooper spotted Jason's car, but no sign of him.
But after that, there's no cell phone activity. We don't know, frankly, what happened in the next hour.
Photos show damage to the car and skid marks on the road.
There doesn't seem to be like paint from another car. Now, could another car have been chasing him?
Jason's cell phone, clothes, and backpack were all left 900 feet from the crash. Why and how did he vanish?
Every night when I'm up and not sleeping, I think the same. I try to make it make sense, and it doesn't.
Police have interviewed several witnesses, but 5 months later, they're still struggling to piece that bizarre night together. Jason's family is now offering a $10,000 reward to anyone who has information that helps find him.
He was a great kid, and he wouldn't run away. That's not him. He would not stay away willingly. So until we know something, we're gonna keep hoping and praying.
Earlier, Jeff and Sam spoke with the reporter who's working on this case. Take a look at this. We are joined by reporter Grace White from KHOU in Houston, Texas. Thank you so much for being here and bringing this story to light, Grace. So Jason disappeared last December while driving home to his parents. So first, can you tell us a little bit about Jason and why the story has picked up so much traction? I can't even imagine as a parent.
Jason is 21 years old, a college student who is headed home for Christmas break. I think that's why so many people are invested in this story, because they can relate to it. You know, he was on his way home from Texas State University in San Marcos to the Houston area, and he never made it. And his parents were waiting for him to walk through that door.
So, Grace, are the police following any new leads, and where is the investigation at today?
The investigation's really picked up steam this year. In the last couple of months, they've released cell phone data from Jason's phone, and that's helped them build out a timeline so they know where he was and when, of course, up to the moment of that crash near Luling, that rural town between San Marcos and Houston. And that's really where this case stands, why it's still a mystery, because up until the crash, they know what happened. But after the crash, there's, of course, no sign of Jason.
Right. So speaking of the crash, let's talk about his abandoned car. It's the one major clue that's been left behind. Do you think, Grace, that there's a chance that Jason could have ran off, or is there any speculation of foul play? What do you think?
Investigators said early on they don't suspect foul play, but as this investigation has continued, they've tried to leave all their options open. And you mentioned the car. They've looked very closely at that. And actually in the pictures, we can tell from the back bumper, there's wood chips pressed in there. They think Jason may have hit a tree and ran off the road. But of course, the biggest question, is there anyone else involved? That is still a mystery.
Wow, heartbreaking. We just hope and pray that the family and Jason gets justice, and hopefully this story can end somehow on a good note. To learn more about this story and for updates, visit khou.com. Jason's story is also the subject of a new podcast episode. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Grace, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
We'll keep you posted. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
At Leaf Filter.
Verify exists to bring you the full context for things you see on social media. For example, tweets like this saying that flu cases this past season dropped dramatically from 38 million to just over 2,000. So let's verify. Did the US see a drastic decline in flu cases in the most recent flu season? Our source is the CDC, which tracks flu statistics every year. And it turns out that this is true, but those numbers need some context. The CDC uses a complex mathematical model to estimate the number of flu cases and deaths every year based on a number of factors. They came up with 38 million cases and 22,000 deaths for the 2019-2020 flu season. But a CDC spokesperson told us that the flu cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were so low in the 2020-2021 season that the CDC can't calculate an estimate. The CDC website reports 1,899 cases based on their surveillance system, but the agency told us via email that this number does not capture every case. So while we can't verify the exact number of flu cases this past season, we can verify that the decrease in cases has been massive, from 38 million to a couple thousand. Now, the CDC says that this reduction is likely due to many factors, from decreased travel and shutdowns that kept people away from work and school, to social distancing and record flu shots administered. In the end, they say it's just difficult to track down which factor was most important. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov, 5 on your side.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to landscaping, did you know some improvement projects can actually hurt the value of your home? We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck, presented by The Hartford. So artificial grass is low maintenance, but the grass wears out quickly and the replacement cost is pricey. Water features can actually decrease your home value by $2,000 to $10,000. Finally, avoid a really big concrete patio. Rain will easily collect in puddles and can put visitors in danger, but a well-maintained garden, trees, and lighting can boost your home's value. When it comes to quality and affordable home insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. So go ahead and call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. I didn't know about that.
That makes sense.
That was really helpful.
I learned this from my parents, basketball courts and tennis courts as well, because not everyone can play basketball.
And it's a waste of space if you have it. You have to redo it anyway. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Brandy wrote in and says she thinks she is a 7-year-old. I try to tell my 7-year-old he's so scared. She said her dog would scare the bleep out of the bear.
Okay.
So some dogs,
let's hope.
people think they can take on the bear.
But let's like not, and I'm glad that young woman was like, hey, don't try this at home. Because
yes.
that 9 times out of 10 we're showing a different video. So
No, that's-
I'm glad.
It's not. That's not going to be on TikTok. It's going to be on when animals attack.
Yeah. I mean, really, that's like 2 mama bears coming at each other, proving they both have their cubs together. So they wanted to like.
No, Tori, it's not.
It's a mama bear and a 17-year-old.
Yes.
With a dog.
It's about a 1,500-pound weight difference.
Yep.
It's not equal at all, actually.
If it
One
was
has
UFC,
claws.
they wouldn't fight in the same class.
Huge teeth.
Yeah.
So goodbye to our coworkers at
Killer
home
instinct.
today.
That one was in high school.
When the pandemic is over, we will be back together again in the studio. Of course, DBL is live every day. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. And don't fight the bears. Bye, guys.
On Daily Blast Live.
Terrifying video of a teen fighting off a bear to protect her dogs. What she's saying about it today.
She drops my dog and I run out of there.
Will Derek Chauvin's conviction stand? Legal expert Dan Abrams weighs in. How likely is it that Derek Chauvin will get a new trial? In today's True Crime Chronicles, Jodi Arias, one of America's most notorious killers. The fiery debate with her former psychologist on DBL today.
That's her narrative. But go ahead.
No,
Erica.
that's the record. No, back up. Back up.
The record's based on her diaries.
And a major surprise on a college graduation day that the students did not see coming.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
2. Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, June 2nd. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Okay, you guys, so we have quite the day full of videos, and there was one video. Was it you that showed me yesterday of the bear?
No, Erica showed me.
Well, Jeff and I had quite the reaction. We're going to show the viewers, and then we have a question for you. So number 1, if you saw a wild animal attacking your dog, what would you do? Would you fight to protect your furry friend? I wonder what Al would do.
I think you know.
Okay, so we want you guys to check out the video that Jeff and I saw yesterday, but I know it's still dominating everybody's social feeds. There it is. There is a bear, you guys, okay? Look at that. Oh my, I can't even take my eyes off this video. So the bear is along the wall. That's when the dogs start confronting the intruder. That's a 17-year-old girl. She ran out to check on her dogs, took on the bear, pushing it off the wall, and she got her dogs and runs back inside to safety. So that girl has now posted an update on TikTok talking about what happened. Check it out.
Her name is Valentina. She is the baby, and as her slave, I have to protect her, so I go over to the bear, I look it in the eyes, and the first thing I think to do is push it. Push a bear, push an apex predator, man. And to be honest, I don't think I like pushed her that hard. I just pushed her enough to make her like lose her balance. So she drops my dog and I run out of there. I grab my other dog, I sprained my finger and screwed my knee, but we're all okay. We're over here.
What just happened? So
I want the transcript of that.
It's a generational gap between us and her. So what do you think of this video, and would you take on a mama bear to protect your dogs? Let's start with you, Al, because you think I know what I would, what you would do.
I would not. Like, I get it, and I know that they're fur mamas and fur babies, but when you have real babies, there's something instinctual that's just like, I need to stay alive to get them to college. And then after that, I'm playing with house money. You know, but I can't be fighting bears, Jeff, because if something happens, God forbid, I want to say I'd be a hero, but I'm like, are the kids inside? The animals got claws. Good luck. What do you want me to do? I don't have claws on our teeth.
Are you kidding me? You would just sit there and watch your fur baby get mauled by a bear?
No, I turned the music up so the kids didn't hear anything.
Jeff?
Yeah, I wanted to take Al's exact answer. When you have children, okay?
I have children, and I would not hesitate if
Okay, let's play the flip side of this coin. I know we're having fun. You're dead because you pushed the bear off the wall, and now
that's
your
a brown bear. They're
children
violent.
don't have a mother,
You're right.
and they have no one to support them. And your dog's going to die in 4 years.
My dog just died. She was 18.
Okay, but
so, you're
that's
right.
the flip side of the coin.
You're absolutely right. But I know that my dog Baby, who passed away like 4 months ago,
Shout out to Baby.
Shout out to Baby. I still have a hole in my heart. I considered her like my 18-year-old kid. Are you right that I would never forgive myself from the grave, saying, why would I do that? And now Sophie and Miles don't have their mom. I just know in that split second, I would not be able to watch Baby get mauled. I would probably do something stupid and go right after that bear, and that's not the right decision, but I know for a fact I would not be able to see Baby get mauled.
I'd be concerned. I'd be like Mickey in the corner. Go get him, Rock. Go get him. But, you know, Rocky lost.
Like I would say, Jeff,
first one.
Both can be true. What you're saying is exactly right. But if I had to bet every dime I've ever made and every piece of money I'll ever make in the future that Sam would do that, I swear she would do that.
Well, it wouldn't be the right thing to do.
I know, but I know that she would do it.
But there's no way I'd let Baby get mauled. No way. Poor
Good luck
Baby.
to that bear.
I miss Baby.
Baby's still out there. Spirits.
I know. I do feel her. Okay, so we didn't get a chance to mention it yesterday, but June is Pride Month. So happy Pride to all our LGBTQ plus friends. We love you. We support you. So speaking of Pride, there's a video that's gone viral out of Washington State showing what happened to a boat after its passengers were allegedly harassing another group flying a pride flag from their boat. So karma appears to have hit the homophobic boaters who apparently taunted the boat of the LGBTQ people with the flag, spun circles around the other boat. At one point, a woman even flicked them off, but then their boat burst into flames, okay? Everyone on that boat had to abandon ship. The boat with the pride flag took the high ground, helped them get out of the water. So this video has many of you asking, is this karma? Do you believe in karma? DBL Nation, we always want to hear from you. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Whew, that is karma, in my opinion.
The definition
Jeff,
of karma.
what do you do?
You help them onto that boat, and you treat them with hospitality, and you turn them. That's exactly what you do. You turn them. Hey, what's going on? You didn't like me? You were giving me the finger for whatever reason it is? You come on my boat, have a beer, chill out. We just saved you, by the way. Now what do you think of me and my choices in life?
Amen.
Yeah.
Do you even believe in karma? I feel like you're like such like a practical, logical person that you don't believe in things like karma.
I don't. Not
you
at all.
don't?
No. Are you serious?
Dude, there's things
You guys
out there,
believe
buddy.
in magic? We did
It's not
something with
magic.
psychics, and you guys believe that my grown adult friends.
When you trip and fall on the way home, that's karma, buddy.
Because the city didn't maintain the sidewalk. I don't think it's karma. I will say this, we might be looking at this video the wrong way. Maybe those people circling the Pride Bro were actually huge supporters. They put up the middle finger, but they were saying Pride is #1 month for us.
No.
And then they exploded their boat in celebration. Sam, look at it tape again.
That's a good take. That's a good take.
Let's see what our viewers say. Do you guys believe in karma? 87% of you agree with Jeff and I. Al, you the lone wolf over there.
But an interesting take nonetheless.
Yes.
Very
As long as I'm interesting. I don't want to be right.
Okay, before we go to break, we've got one last viral video for you. Check out what happened at the graduation ceremony at Wilberforce University in Ohio.
Ohio.
Because you represent the best of your generation, we wish to give you a fresh start. So therefore, the Wilberforce University Board of Trustees has authorized me to forgive any debt
to the men.
Real
I mean,
freedom.
do you remember graduating from college and you're like, sweet, now I have $60,000 in debt to pay off? Cool.
My parents helped me out, luckily, but I have friends that are very well off, and it wasn't too long ago where like, I just finished paying my student loans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's insane because the interest just builds up, and if you're not making enough money, it never goes away. It never goes away.
It took me like 15 years of waitressing to finally
and
pay
Sam,
off
you
Sally
worked
Mae.
that out for yourself.
Yeah, Sally Mae is a...
Yeah, they're coming for you. I mean, and it's so weird when we think about student debt. We first of all, we only think about graduates, not people that went 2 years, didn't have enough money, so now they have debt and no degree. And there's people on the other edge, like my buddy who's a doctor who was here a couple weeks ago. He went to Brown and Harvard. Hey, yay, good for you. He graduated Harvard with $500,000 in debt, and who knows what he left Brown with. So it's so much money, and our species is supposed to move forward, and you can't if you can't get married because you guys are both broke. You can't get a house. You cannot contribute to that neighborhood's overall wealth, bring the school systems up, bring everybody's property values up, because we're all stuck in this debt, so we need to figure this out.
I'm glad that you brought that up because a lot of people don't see the investment in it, right? They see it as like, oh, this is a payout. Everybody has their hands out. When in reality, you just gave a list of really tangible things that actually help our economy.
I mean, look at the table. You guys just purchased homes. Congrats. What was the first thing you looked at?
What do you mean?
The school system, correct?
Yeah.
Please say that. Yes. That's the only thing you look for. Yeah. You got to check the school system. It's so important.
I was looking at the pool.
Okay.
No, we don't have a pool. I'm just kidding.
You have a community pool.
It definitely was a school system.
Right.
It definitely
Schools
was.
are everything.
Coming up on DBL, right on the heels of the Friends reunion, Matthew Perry calls off his engagement. We'll tell you what we know. Plus, we're talking to legal expert and attorney Dan Abrams. Could Derek Chauvin get a new trial? Well, Dan weighs in. Plus, a personal look at Dr. Fauci through his emails. What his correspondence is revealing about how he handled the first days of the pandemic.
Amazon's latest feature is making a lot of headlines because it will automatically enroll anyone who owns one of its devices into a program to share their internet connection. Let's connect the dots. The program is called Amazon Sidewalk. The company says a small portion of your internet bandwidth will be pooled together with small chunks from your neighbors. Amazon says it'll make its devices work better and help locate lost items. This affects people who have Echo devices, Ring floodlight, and Spotlight cameras. It all gets switched on June 8th. The whole point of this is to extend the range of low bandwidth devices. So if your network goes down, your Echo Dot can still work by sharing connectivity with neighbors who have similar devices. It will also help tile trackers work better. Those are the little devices designed to keep track of important items. They can use Amazon Sidewalk to be more efficient and accurate. Obviously, some folks have raised security concerns about this sharing situation. Amazon says it has multiple layers of privacy and security to protect your personal information. But bottom line, you also have the option to opt out. If you have a Ring device, go to the Control Center on the app or their website. If you have an Echo device, go to Settings in the Alexa app.
DBL. Check out all our co-workers at home during the pandemic. Keep up the great work, everyone. We miss you. Okay, so we are getting some insight into how much pressure Dr. Fauci was under during the pandemic. BuzzFeed News published 3,200 pages of emails he received from January to June of 2020. The emails were from his team, celebrities, even Mark Zuckerberg chimed in about building a coronavirus information hub on Facebook. Or in some cases, they were from complete strangers looking for guidance, like one woman who thought Fauci was being muzzled by Vice President Pence. She wrote, "This is quite terrifying, especially since Trump has already shown his desire to spread false or incomplete information about this public health crisis." She also added, "I'm planning to fly domestically tomorrow. Is it safe?" Fauci responded.
She waited until the last second to send that email.
Fauci responded saying, "There is much misinformation. I actually have not been muzzled at all by the vice president. And by the way, it is safe to fly domestically." Okay, so first of all, we have Erica back. Erica Cobb is back in the house. There she is. Okay, so Erica, what do you make of all these emails?
Man, first of all, that makes my anxiety just trigger like through the roof. But Dr. Fauci has always been a medical professional who understood the assignment, okay? Even when he was under all of this scrutiny, things were politicized. People were calling him a liar or saying that he didn't know what he was talking about. He maintained communication with the American public, even at times when our elected officials didn't maintain that communication. So it's not surprising that he was receiving thousands of emails to which he was actually replying to. I commend him. He did an amazing job.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, please.
Well, I just was going to take it in a different direction.
Please.
Here. You know what I mean? Because if you want to question where this virus came from, you're automatically labeled a Trumper, a non-supporter, you're far-right Republican. Why can't you question that? I asked our very own Dr. Coley on the show that very same question. 2 labs in Wuhan that are studying this virus, that's where it came from? That's not an intelligent question to ask.
Well, President Biden agrees with you. President Biden right now, I'm glad you brought this up.
But it's so taboo to talk about. And we're talking about an email that some lady, we're talking about some lady that just wrote about the weather. I don't care about that. There's someone challenging him saying, hey, listen, thanks for downplaying the Wuhan virus. That's the one we should have showed. But that's what everyone's talking about. That's the email everyone's talking about.
That's a fair thing. I mean, Jeff, I'll say this, and I can't defend Dr. Fauci, but I will say that we dealt with a lot of this with H1N1. So the fact that somebody might have been playing with this in a lab is very plausible. Right. Very plausible. That's why we had such a head start on getting the cure. Now, what I will say to that is at some point it didn't matter because no matter where it came from, I wasn't sitting this close to you. You weren't hugging your mama. You weren't getting on a flight to go see anybody. So there's 2 different things. Your question is valid and fascinating, and there will be a documentary made of it, I'm sure.
Right. And it doesn't take away that I didn't wear a mask or I'm not getting vaccinated.
You have every right to ask that question.
Isn't that intelligent?
But there are people that will immediately think that you somehow doubt. However, President Biden and his administration have announced that they are committed to finding and looking back and reinvestigating to find out where the origins are. So you're not alone in that. Anything else? And I feel like we just went on a tangent, but I like that. That's what the show's about. But
I wanted to get off, and again, I'm not questioning Dr. Fauci and how he handled the virus and playing Monday morning quarterback to look back and judge him. I'm just saying to question something like that just because that's what Trump believed, and now all of a sudden you're labeled a Trumper. That's ignorant.
Take
to put
the
those 2 together.
politics out of it and just find the origin. I totally agree with you. I will say something that I've noticed because my family has experienced so much close connection with doctors over the last 5 months in regard to Eric, my brother-in-law. We've noticed that certain, like the upper echelon of doctors, Dr. Coley's one of them. I don't know Dr. Fauci personally, but they have this almost like need and desire to constantly respond and get back to people. Right. Like it's in like poor Dr. Fauci, Dr. Coley's up all night responding to people. And I feel like it's almost like within their makeup where they just have to make sure that they go above and beyond, but to what cost?
And I applaud them.
Yeah. But to what cost? They got to protect themselves too, because that's insanity, that many emails. Coming up on DBL, inside the twisted mind of convicted killer Jodi Arias. We're talking to the psychologist who defended her in court in True Crime Chronicles. And next, legal expert Dan Abrams, he's weighing in on the Derek Chauvin murder trial and whether he'll get a retrial.
A viewer sent us an email that says they've seen multiple posts online that claim that COVID-19 has a 99.9% recovery rate. It's not true.
I don't know where that number comes from.
Our sources are Dr. Kausar Talat, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Aditi Narukar, a physician from the Harvard Medical School, and the COVID-19 statistics from the CDC. The latest numbers for the CDC show of the more than 33 million cases in the United States, more than 595,000 people have died.
So you can say 98% of people who get COVID don't die, but 2% do. And those 2% are almost 600,000 people in the United States alone. And that's 600,000 family members and relatives.
However, our experts also say the number of COVID-19 deaths may be underreported.
One of the key reasons is because when the health system is burdened from surges, it's difficult to track which deaths were due to an emerging infectious disease, in this case, COVID.
Finally, if 99.9% of COVID-19 cases recovered, that would mean only around 3,300 people would have died. Instead, it's closer to 600,000 people that died. So this 99.9% claim is false. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. Courts are some of the most heated rooms a person can be in, but what happens when the accused takes the witness stand? Earlier, Tori Now spoke with Dan Abrams to talk about his new show, Under Oath, which seeks to answer that very question. That's today's DBL Spotlight. Dan Abrams, it is always a pleasure. Welcome back to DBL. We cannot wait to talk to you about your new show, Court Cam presents Under Oath. First of all, great title. But first, we just want to pick your brain a little bit, because we love it so much on the show, about the state of law enforcement in America today. So I just want to ask a question our viewers have. Derek Chauvin's lawyer has filed a motion for a new trial, arguing that some errors were made that violated Mr. Chauvin's rights. And we all wanted to know, according to you, how likely is it that Derek Chauvin will get a new trial?
I think it's very unlikely he'll get a new trial. This is a fairly typical appeal. I think this judge was pretty careful in his rulings. I think that the one issue a lot of people have been talking about was about this juror, where there was a picture of him at an event with his family. And, the question is not going to be, was this juror, sort of inclined to one side or another? It's going to be, did the juror lie in the context of jury selection? And his position is, when I was asked the question, had I been in a police protest? I didn't think of it as a police protest. I thought of it as an MLK celebration. And the key is going to be, in a separate question, he was asked, what do you think of Black Lives Matter? And he said he had a very positive view of it. That's going to help him because it seems honest.
Yeah, right.
And as a result, I don't think that there's going to be any action taken.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, well, this next question is such a, I wouldn't say loaded question, but such a deep question. I don't know why we would have any after this. But how would you recommend that police departments rebuild their relationships with local communities?
Well, look, I think a lot of the proposals out there make a lot of sense. I mean, having police officers who live in the communities, I think, can be very valuable. I think that's very important.
All right, let's talk Court Cam. Tell us about the show in general.
The new series is called Court Cam Under Oath, which is all about defendants who take the witness stand in their own defense. And when a defendant takes the witness stand in their own defense, the case all then comes down to the credibility of that person. And it's very rare for defendants to take the witness stand in their own defense. And there's a reason for that, because prosecutors are very tough on defendants who take the witness stand in their own defense. So what makes this series so compelling, I think, is that you get to see the defendant explaining why he or she didn't do it or he or she shouldn't be responsible. And you also hear from the juror and the prosecutor and the defense as to what they're thinking.
I want to just know from Dan Abrams' point of view, if you could be a prosecutor on a cross-examination or a defense attorney, which is your favorite? Which would you prefer to be? Do you like to go for the jugular or?
I'd rather be a
prosecutor.
Yeah, I mean, the prosecutor is the more interesting one when the defendant is testifying, because look, it's interesting because the defense will question their witness, and a lot of the time you come out of it, you say, oh wow, that sounds like a pretty interesting explanation, seems plausible. And then the prosecutor will come up and poke all sorts of holes in it, and you'll say, oh wait, now I get it. And so I think that's why being the prosecutor in these cases can be more interesting.
Be sure to catch Dan's new show, Court Cam Presents Under Oath. It's on tonight on A&E. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
At Leaf Filter, we're on a never-ending journey to end gutter cleaning.
Verify exists to bring you the full context for things you see on social media. For example, tweets like this saying that flu cases this past season dropped dramatically from 38 million to just over 2,000. So let's verify. Did the US see a drastic decline in flu cases in the most recent flu season? Our source is the CDC, which tracks flu statistics every year. And it turns out that this is true, but those numbers need some context. The CDC uses a complex mathematical model to estimate the number of flu cases and deaths every year based on a number of factors. They came up with 38 million cases and 22,000 deaths for the 2019-2020 flu season. But a CDC spokesperson told us that the flu cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were so low in the 2020-2021 season that the CDC can't calculate an estimate. The CDC website reports 1,899 cases based on their surveillance system, but the agency told us via email that this number does not capture every case. So while we can't verify the exact number of flu cases this past season, we can verify that the decrease in cases has been massive, from 38 million to a couple thousand. Now, the CDC says that this reduction is likely due to many factors, from decreased travel and shutdowns that kept people away from work and school, to social distancing and record flu shots administered. In the end, they say it's just difficult to track down which factor was most important. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov, 5 on your side.
Tomorrow on DBL, comedian Larry the Cable Guy and his wife Kara, why the couple that laughs together stays together.
Get her done.
That's tomorrow right here on DBL.
Okay, if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Matthew Perry calls off his engagement to his fiancée. But is there more to the story? Plus, a new look into the mind of Jodi Arias from her former psychologist. He's talking to us right here on DBL. You do not want to miss this special True Crime Chronicles. And thank you to our coworkers watching from home right now. There you all are. Peter! DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al, Erica in her pink with her cute little shoulder puffs. You have like little shoulder angles.
Is that the technical term?
I'm trying to do the large shoulders, small waist thing,
It reminds
me
me
of
optical
illusion.
Oh, honey, you do have a nice tight waist.
All right. Erica, meet me in HR with Sam in about 30 minutes.
Okay. All right, but you look fabulous, Erica. That was my point. All right, so Matthew Perry has called off his engagement. In a statement to People magazine, Matthew confirmed he and Molly Hurwitz broke up, saying, quote, "Sometimes things just don't work out, and this is one of them." He also wished Molly the best. The two had been engaged since last November. Matthew's health has been a topic of interest since appearing on the Friends reunion special last week. His speech appeared slurred, but that was reportedly due to emergency dental surgery. And let me tell you, what are you thinking? Because there is a whole thing going, and it breaks my heart. Someone that knows addiction very well, to see either here's the two scenarios, and I hate even speculating on someone's sobriety when you're not in it, right? He either has fallen off the wagon, and that is heartbreaking, or the poor guy has done so good with his sobriety, coincidentally gets some dental treatment, and now everybody's taking away his hard work by saying he slipped up.
Yeah, Erica, let me ask you a question. I've been sober for 541 days.
Woo!
If I came in here, thank you. If I came in here slurring tomorrow, and then you confronted me about it off air, and I told you I just got some dental surgery, what percentage of truth would you give that?
Well, Al, listen, I know you, okay? So if I'm actually asking you the question, it's coming from a place of true concern, and if I'm actually inquiring, it's so that I can figure out how I can help. If you tell me that it's dental surgery and I have no other reason to believe anything else based on your behavior, then that's what I'm going to make the assessment on. But the truth is, if I came to you and said that, it would be because I've seen other red flags, and now I'm addressing the situation in a point of empathy. So I do appreciate what Sam said in terms of like how she set this up, because sobriety is so personal, and to conflate his relationship issues with all of this other fodder is really of help to no one.
Yeah, and let's give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, it looks like he did have dental surgery, right? So it looked like that. And then if it wasn't, like Al's saying, there's a lot of people who saw that reunion. A lot of people close to him and say, hey, Matt, I haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. Just wanted to reach out and talk to you. So hopefully, if something is going on, he does get the help he needs by people close to him. And if not, maybe it's just dental surgery.
Right. And if it is, you know, there should be, addiction is a daily struggle.
Right.
If he falls off, if that's the case, then he's just got to get right back up, and he needs to go, you know, utilize those tools that he learned in recovery and in rehab. So let's not, if that is the case, let's not penalize him.
To anybody that's in recovery, really quickly, one thing that I used to run a men's sobriety group, and one of the guys said, and I remember this, he was like, think about sobriety as a marathon. If you stub your toe on the 19th mile, you don't hang your head and go back to the starting line. You tape it up and you keep running.
Exactly.
So if he did fall off, that's part of this. So that's okay.
It's a lifelong battle. Let's remember that. Okay, so Anna Faris is opening up about marrying at a young age and has some advice for her son. She first married actor Ben Indra back in 2004 when she was just 27. But her most publicized relationship, of course, and breakup was to Chris Pratt. The former couple have an 8-year-old son, Jack, and she recently used her own experience to drop a bit of a bombshell to her podcast guest. Take a listen.
If I could tell my 8-year-old son one thing that maybe he would stick to, I would really encourage him to not get married in his 20s. It should be illegal.
Okay, so what do you think, Jeff?
Listen, teach their own, right? If you find love in your 20s and you're happy, be happy, right? But I think more and more the world is changing in this. My parents just celebrated their 50-year anniversary.
Oh,
I don't know how many of those we're going to see in the future, right? There's so much temptation out there. I dated before the whole dating app. I've been with my wife Jordan for 12 years, so I didn't even download one of those apps. That's a lot of temptation. If you're dating someone for 3 months and it could be the one and you're messing around these apps, there goes that relationship.
That's interesting. So social components has a lot to do with it.
At least in my eyes.
Okay. I also think it depends on, and maybe I'm wrong, where you live. I see like in cities like New York and LA, a lot of people are, you know, maybe more interested in dating or their job. Not to say that that doesn't happen in smaller communities, but I feel like the smaller towns, they tend to settle down much quicker. Am I wrong, Erica?
I agree with you. I'm a Midwest girl, and all of my friends got married in their 20s, including myself, and I ended up subsequently getting divorced. But my other friends are still married, and I think, you know, especially when you are, I'm going to say traditional, but I don't mean it in like how we all take it now. But like, you know, you're really close to where you grew up, and you have all of this support, you know, around you. I think that's a big part of it too. Like, I struck it out on my own, and you learn really quickly who you are, and that evolves. You know, it evolves more when you don't have that support as close. So I do think that demographics can weigh apart.
But should it be illegal?
Obviously, it should not be illegal. And
would you warn your children?
Yes.
Really?
I would, and this is why. I feel like you're a different person every 10 years until you're about 40. That when you're 40, you kind of settle in. I like my golf on Thursdays. I like to have my coffee and toast, and this is what I like, and this is what I don't like.
40? Golf on Thursday?
Well, yeah.
Chris, gotta go to work, buddy.
I know, but like after work. But I think when you're 20, you could be really artsy, and then when you're 29, you're like, I want to do the Peace Corps, and then 31, I want to be a DJ. Like, you go through these things, and then you figure out who you are. Yeah, Peace Corps. They only give you $800 on the way out. You can't do it.
I wanted to do the Peace Corps as a kid.
I could see you do it.
I was in Peace Child.
That's not a thing.
Yes,
that was
it is
that was
a
a failed
thing.
band. No.
I could see you like on the rapids, like saving the whales, you know, like on those boats when they're all
That's
bundled up.
Greenpeace, not Peace Child.
I could see you on there.
What are you trying to say, Greenpeace or Peace Child?
Both, but I was a
There's
peace
no
child.
Peace Child. You can't just say.
There's a thing called peace child.
If you can
I
prove
wore
it by the
white-
end of the show, this will be my
I
last
was
day.
in first grade. I wore a white dress. I had a flower crown. I had
That
a
was a
banjo,
movie. That was a
and we would go
You're
down.
describing the Marilyn Manson kid.
No, the peace child. I still remember one song in Russian.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, now we got something for the end.
It's true. It's true. I was a peace child, and I'm proud. Coming up on DBL, we're talking to. Okay, get it together,
All
Shocker.
right.
We are talking to the doctor who helped defend infamous killer, stop it, Jodi Arias, years ago. New revelations into her mind next in True Crime Chronicles. And our DBL staff working hard at home during the pandemic. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
So they're nice.
Amazon's latest feature is making a lot of headlines because it will automatically enroll anyone who owns one of its devices into a program to share their internet connection. Let's connect the dots. The program is called Amazon Sidewalk. The company says a small portion of your internet bandwidth will be pooled together with small chunks from your neighbors. Amazon says it'll make its devices work better and help locate lost items. This affects people who have Echo devices, Ring floodlight, and Spotlight cameras. It all gets switched on June 8th. The whole point of this is to extend the range of low bandwidth devices. So if your network goes down, your Echo Dot can still work by sharing connectivity with neighbors who have similar devices. It will also help tile trackers work better. Those are the little devices designed to keep track of important items. They can use Amazon Sidewalk to be more efficient and accurate. Obviously, some folks have raised security concerns about this sharing situation. Amazon says it has multiple layers of privacy and security to protect your personal information. But bottom line, you also have the option to opt out. If you have a Ring device, go to the Control Center on the app or their website. If you have an Echo device, go to Settings in the Alexa app.
Jodi Arias is one of America's most notorious killers. She was convicted of murdering her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander in 2008. The heinous crime is the subject of a Discovery Plus documentary with interviews from the psychologist who defended Jodi. We actually spoke with him, but first, here is a refresher on the case.
Jodi Arias met Travis Alexander at a conference in 2006. They dated long distance on and off for nearly 2 years. In June 2008, Travis is found dead at home, stabbed 27 times and shot in the head. Police found Jodi's DNA in the home and a digital camera with sexually explicit images of the two. When Jodi was questioned,
one of the things that she did was sing, and another one was stand on her head.
Thought that perhaps it was her way to get her cheeks flushed. It's kind of a modeling trick, you know, to flush your cheeks before your photograph. She was an odd person.
I didn't hear.
She gave investigators 3 different stories. First, she claimed she was out of town. Then she changed her story, saying an intruder broke in. And later, she admitted to killing Travis in self-defense. In 2008, Jody was indicted by a grand jury for the first-degree murder of Travis Alexander. Her trial began 5 years later and lasted 4 months. 38 witnesses testified, including Jody, who spent 18 days on the stand.
I don't remember.
She tried to convince the jury she killed Travis in self-defense.
I grabbed the gun. I ran out of the closet. He was chasing me. I turned around and we were in the middle of the bathroom. I pointed it at him with both of my hands. I thought that would stop him.
The prosecution presented mounds of evidence that the murder was premeditated. Dr. Robert Geffner was called in by the defense on the last day of trial as a last-ditch effort to avoid Jody's conviction.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. He argued Jody suffered from PTSD and acute stress, causing her to lose control. After 15 hours of deliberation,
We, the jury, find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder, guilty.
but the jury could not agree on sentencing Jody to death or life in prison. So a retrial was granted in 2014. A few months later, the jury could not reach a unanimous decision again. So the judge declared it another mistrial and sentenced Jody to life in prison without parole.
And earlier, Eric and I spoke with the psychologist you just saw in that story. Take a look. We are here with Dr. Robert Geffner, the clinical psychologist who examined Jody Arias and testified in her trial. Thank you for coming on DBL. So you were called in on the last day of the trial by the defense. This was a huge case in the news. A majority of people already believe she was guilty, as Jody herself admitted, and not a victim of PTSD. So what was that pressure like to defend Jody?
My main role in that last day that you mentioned was really to explain to the jury how the prosecutor's expert, and I use that word loosely, completely screwed up the testing that they gave, misinterpreted her own results, gave outdated, obsolete information, and that her results were more consistent with trauma and PTSD than what she had said.
Yeah, and you know, I did cover this trial for HLN, so I do remember when you came in on that second trial during her sentencing trial. Here's the thing, and I'm going to push back here.
Okay.
You believe that she suffered from PTSD. Now, you also believe that she was not a liar, right? If I remember correctly, during your testimony, when Jody lied over and over and over again to the police, number one, about her whereabouts, when people first questioned her about her role in the, I'm going to call it a triple murder of Travis Alexander. Now, and then she changed her story, even though she went to his house, traveled from California to Arizona, went to his house with her hair dyed to remain undetected, with cans of gasoline in her car. Then she says 2 individuals came in, ninjas, those were her words, and attacked she and Travis Alexander. Only when the evidence was presented to her 2 years later did she finally admit that she is a pathological liar. That's on tape.
So the first thing about the lying is they used a test to say she lied on it, and her results on that test indicated she had not. Her test results given by the prosecutor's expert and the other experts in the case who had worked with her, they were consistent with trauma. That was what I said. They weren't consistent with somebody who was psychopathic or somebody who was borderline, which is what they were arguing. Everything you said is exactly what the prosecutor portrayed and pushed. Her being jealous, her basically planning to go down there undetected, I think is the word you just used. None of that was accurate. It was Travis who invited her down. It was Jody who actually broke off the relationship. And you have that in her journals and emails and texts. You also have Jody moving away.
That's her narrative. But go ahead.
No,
Erica.
that's the record. No, back up.
The record's based on her diaries. The record's
and
based
the
on her
emails and
diaries.
texts. and the emails and texts back and forth between her and Travis.
I could also present other emails, texts back and forth that also speaks to his narrative. But Erica, please chime in.
Well, Dr. Geffner, I did not cover the trial for HLN.
Okay.
So my curiosity is more about the nature of your relationship with Jodi, because obviously we, the public, don't know her on an interpersonal level,
Right.
but you do. So what was it about Jodi that, one, has you believing her when so many people do not believe her story? And how did you go about coming to your findings in terms of if she was a credible person to support or not?
It wasn't a question of believing Jodi or not believing Jodi. I mean, when we deal with these cases, credibility of a person is always at question, which is why we do a whole variety of different tests and questionnaires to actually look specifically at credibility, at malingering, at all those things. She passed almost all those things. There is no doubt that she lied at the beginning, that she made up stories. Unfortunately, those things did not help her at all.
Dr. Geffner, I listen, I'm just really uncomfortable considering I'm always going to be one to stick up for someone that is a victim of abuse. And I really appreciate you taking that role. And I know that you're sticking your neck out and your career out by doing that. But I also think it's important to note to our viewers who are not familiar with this case, yes, you may have interviewed people that felt like that she was a victim of abuse, but then there's also other people that have said that she was 100%, in so many words, psychotic. So I just want to, I'm not discrediting anything that you're saying, and I really appreciate you coming on the phone, on our show and presenting this side. But I also want to make sure that our viewers watching, and also Travis Alexander's family and Travis Alexander's legacy, I mean, he can't defend himself. I think it's important to note when you say those things for me to push back and also let our viewers know that she also did some very questionable things that raised a lot of red flags, not only with Travis Alexander, but his family and his friends.
Wait a minute, now you push back, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but let me do the same. So one of the things you need to look at is not what the people are saying at the trial. It's what they said prior to the trial. Now, the people you talked about who testified at the trial changed their stories. If you look at their emails and texts from a year before, it was a whole different story.
And Jodi,
one of them,
Jodi changed her stories multiple times too.
My turn. One of them actually warned Jodi about the manipulation and the problems with Travis.
And many of Travis's friends warned him about the manipulation of Jodi. Considering the heinousness of the crime, considering all these nuanced details, we don't have enough time to cover it all. I wish that we could have you on longer, Dr. Geffner, and I really do appreciate you going back and forth with me. And to hear more from Dr. Geffner, you can watch the brand new 2-hour documentary, If I Can't Have You, the Jodi Area Story. It's streaming this Friday, February 12th on Discovery Plus. Dr. Geffner, thank you for being here. We'll be right back.
You're welcome. Take care.
We all know that movement is like medicine, but getting the movement you need to feel better can be a challenge. Now you can keep fit while...
A viewer sent us an email that says they've seen multiple posts online that claim that COVID-19 has a 99.9% recovery rate. It's not true.
I don't know where that number comes from.
Our sources are Dr. Kausar Talat, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Aditi Narukar, a physician from the Harvard Medical School, and the COVID-19 statistics from the CDC. The latest numbers for the CDC show of the more than 33 million cases in the United States, more than 595,000 people have died.
So you can say 98% of people who get COVID don't die, but 2% do. And those 2% are almost 600,000 people in the United States alone. And that's 600,000 family members and relatives.
However, our experts also say the number of COVID-19 deaths may be underreported.
One of the key reasons is because when the health system is burdened from surges, it's difficult to track which deaths were due to an emerging infectious disease, in this case, COVID.
Finally, if 99.9% of COVID-19 cases recovered, that would mean only around 3,300 people would have died. Instead, it's closer to 600,000 people that died. So this 99.9% claim is false. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to landscaping, did you know some improvement projects can actually hurt the value of your home? Oh no, we're doing that right now. We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck presented by The Hartford. So artificial grass is low maintenance, but the grass wears out quickly and the replacement cost is pricey. Water features can actually decrease your home value by $2,000 to $10,000. Finally, avoid a big concrete patio. Rain will easily collect in puddles and can put visitors in danger. But a well-maintained garden, trees, and lighting can boost your home's value. So when it comes to quality and affordable home insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. We're really into like trimming bushes and stuff right now and digging holes and stuff.
You're gonna think I'm lying.
I'm loving
just
it.
Dug 3 holes and planted 3 bushes.
Oh my
yesterday.
gosh, it's a big job. Mark planted 2. Mark dug 2 holes yesterday. Took them all day.
I'm serious.
I know. It takes all day.
The booth just said rap, and I don't think I've ever wanted to hear a word more. No, it's really relaxing. I'll give you that.
Not so much. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify exists to bring you the full context for things you see on social media. For example, tweets like this saying that flu cases this past season dropped dramatically from 38 million to just over 2,000. So let's verify. Did the US see a drastic decline in flu cases in the most recent flu season? Our source is the CDC, which tracks flu statistics every year. And it turns out that this is true, but those numbers need some context. The CDC uses a complex mathematical model to estimate the number of flu cases and deaths every year based on a number of factors. They came up with 38 million cases and 22,000 deaths for the 2019-2020 flu season. But a CDC spokesperson told us that the flu cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were so low in the 2020-2021 season that the CDC can't calculate an estimate. The CDC website reports 1,899 cases based on their surveillance system, but the agency told us via email that this number does not capture every case. So while we can't verify the exact number of flu cases this past season, we can verify that the decrease in cases has been massive, from 38 million to a couple thousand. Now, the CDC says that this reduction is likely due to many factors, from decreased travel and shutdowns that kept people away from work and school, to social distancing and record flu shots administered. In the end, they say it's just difficult to track down which factor was most important. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov, 5 on your side.
Come back to DBL. Erica's back and she's got some comments.
I do. Yolanda says, I've been married to my husband since we were 26 and we just celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary.
Yes,
Congratulations,
I love
y'all. Millicent says, to each their own. If you want to marry young, marry young. If you want to wait, do you, boo. And Nancy says, when it comes to love and marriage, when you know, you know.
Oh.
I think, I mean, that sounds like cliche, but it's true. You just kind of know. You said you knew when you met Mark?
I knew at the Saddle Ranch.
No questions about your singing. This is all about like marriage.
Can you take us out with a Russian song?
I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
I think
Someone
you
at home
were.
that knows Russian is probably like, that's not how it goes.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
У меня мечта, что будет мир, мечта у меня. Okay, goodbye.
On Daily Blast Live.
Terrifying video of a teen fighting off a bear to protect her dogs. What she's saying about it today.
She drops my dog and I run out of there.
Will Derek Chauvin's conviction stand? Legal expert Dan Abrams weighs in. How likely is it that Derek Chauvin will get a new trial? In today's True Crime Chronicles, Jodi Arias, one of America's most notorious killers. The fiery debate with her former psychologist on DBL today.
That's her narrative. But go ahead.
No,
Erica.
that's the record. No, back up. Back up.
The record's based on her diaries.
And a major surprise on a college graduation day that the students did not see coming.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, June 2nd. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Okay, you guys, so we have quite the day full of videos, and there was one video. Was it you that showed me yesterday of the bear?
No, Erica showed me.
Well, Jeff and I had quite the reaction. We're going to show the viewers, and then we have a question for you. So number one, if you saw a wild animal attacking your dog, what would you do? Would you fight to protect your furry friend? I wonder what Al would do.
I think you know.
Okay, so we want you guys to check out the video that Jeff and I saw yesterday, but I know it's still dominating everybody's social feeds. There it is. There is a bear, you guys, okay? Look at that. Oh my, I can't even take my eyes off this video. So the bear is along the wall. That's when the dogs start confronting the intruder. That's a 17-year-old girl. She ran out to check on her dogs, took on the bear, pushing it off the wall, and she got her dogs and runs back inside to safety. So that girl has now posted an update on TikTok talking about what happened. Check it out.
Her name is Valentina. She is the baby, and as her slave, I have to protect her, so I go over to the bear, I look it in the eyes, and the first thing I think to do is push it. Push a bear, push an apex predator, man. And to be honest, I don't think I push her that hard. I just pushed her enough to make her lose her balance. So she drops my dog and I run out of there. I grab my other dog, I sprained my finger and screwed my knee, but we're all okay. We're over here.
What just happened? So
I want the transcript of that.
It's a generational gap between us and her. So what do you think of this video, and would you take on a mama bear to protect your dogs? Let's start with you, Al, because you think I know what you would do.
I would not. I get it, and I know that they're fur mamas and fur babies, but when you have real babies, there's something instinctual that's just like, I need to stay alive to get them to college. And then after that, I'm playing with house money. But I can't be fighting bears, Jeff, because if something happens, God forbid, I want to say I'd be a hero, but I'm like, are the kids inside? The animals got claws. Good luck. Hey, what do you mean to do? I don't have claws on our teeth.
Are you kidding me? You would just sit there and watch your fur baby get mauled by a bear?
No, I turned the music up so the kids didn't hear anything.
Jeff?
Yeah, I wanted to take Al's exact answer. When you have children, okay?
I have children, and I would not hesitate if
Okay, let's play the flip side of this coin. I know we're having fun. You're dead because you pushed the bear off the wall, and now
that's a brown bear. They're violent.
Don't have a mother,
You're right.
and they have no one to support them. And your dog's going to die in 4 years.
My dog just died. She was 18.
Okay, but
so, you're
that's
right.
the flip side of the coin.
You're absolutely right. But I know that my dog Baby, who passed away 4 months ago,
Shout out to Baby.
Shout out to Baby. I still have a hole in my heart. I considered her like my 18-year-old kid. Are you right that I would never forgive myself from the grave, saying, why would I do that? And now Sophie and Miles don't have their mom. I just know in that split second, I would not be able to watch Baby get mauled. I would probably do something stupid and go right after that bear, and that's not the right decision, but I know for a fact I would not be able to see Baby get mauled.
Listen, I'd be concerned. Yeah. I'd be like Mickey in the corner. Go get him, Rock.
Yeah.
Go get him. But, Rocky lost.
I would say, Jeff,
first one.
Both can be true. What you're saying is exactly right. But if I had to bet every dime I've ever made and every piece of money I'll ever make in the future that Sam would do that, I swear she would do that.
Well, it wouldn't be the right thing to do.
I know, but I know that she would do it.
But there's no way I'd let Baby get mauled. No way. Poor
Good luck
Baby.
to that bear.
I miss Baby.
Baby's still out there. Spirits.
I know. I do feel her. Okay, so we didn't get a chance to mention it yesterday, but June is Pride Month. So happy Pride to all our LGBTQ plus friends. We love you. We support you. So speaking of Pride, there's a video that's gone viral out of Washington State showing what happened to a boat after its passengers were allegedly harassing another group flying a pride flag from their boat. So karma appears to have hit the homophobic boaters who apparently taunted the boat of the LGBTQ people with the flag, spun circles around the other boat. At one point, a woman even flicked them off, but then their boat burst into flames, okay? Everyone on that boat had to abandon ship. The boat with the pride flag took the high ground, helped them get out of the water. So this video has many of you asking, is this karma? Do you believe in karma? DBL Nation, we always want to hear from you. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Whew, that is karma, in my opinion.
The definition
Jeff,
of karma.
What do you do?
You help them onto that boat, and you treat them with hospitality, and you turn them. That's exactly what you do. You turn them. Hey, what's going on? You didn't like me. You were giving me the finger for whatever reason it is. You come on my boat, have a beer, chill out. We just saved you, by the way. Now what do you think of me and my choices in life?
Amen.
Yeah.
Do you even believe in karma? I feel like you're such a practical, logical person that you don't believe in things like karma.
I don't. Not
you
at all.
don't?
No. Are you serious?
Dude, there's things
You guys
out there,
believe
buddy.
in magic? We did
It's not
something with
magic.
psychics, and you guys believe that by grown adult friends.
When you trip and fall on the way home, that's karma, buddy.
Because the city didn't maintain the sidewalk. I don't think it's karma. I will say this, we might be looking at this video the wrong way. Maybe those people circling the Pride Bro were actually huge supporters. They put up the middle finger, but they were saying Pride is #1 month for us.
No.
And then they exploded their boat in celebration. Sam, look at it tape again.
That's a good take. That's a good take.
Let's see what our viewers say. Do you guys believe in karma? 87% of you agree with Jeff and I. Al, you the lone wolf over there.
But an interesting take nonetheless.
Yes.
Very.
As long as I'm interesting, I don't want to be right.
Okay, before we go to break, we've got one last viral video for you. Check out what happened at the graduation ceremony at Wilberforce University in Ohio.
Ohio.
Because you represent the best of your generation, we wish to give you a fresh start. So therefore, the Wilberforce University Board of Trustees has authorized me to forgive any debt
Wow. A to the men.
Real
I mean,
freedom.
do you remember graduating from college and you're like, sweet, now I have $60,000 in debt to pay off? Cool.
My parents helped me out, luckily, but I have friends that are very well off, and it wasn't too long ago where, like, I just finished paying my student loans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's insane because the interest just builds up, and if you're not making enough money, it never goes away. It never goes away.
It took me like 15 years of waitressing to finally
and
pay
Sam,
off
you
Sally
worked
Mae.
that off yourself.
Yeah, Sally Mae is a...
Yeah, they're coming for you. I mean, and it's so weird when we think about student debt. We first of all, we only think about graduates, not people that went 2 years, didn't have enough money, so now they have debt and no degree. And there's people on the other edge, like my buddy who's a doctor who was here a couple weeks ago. He went to Brown and Harvard. Hey, yay, good for you. He graduated Harvard with $500,000 in debt, and who knows what he left Brown with. So it's so much money, and our species is supposed to move forward, and you can't if you can't get married because you guys are both broke. You can't get a house. You cannot contribute to that neighborhood's overall wealth, bring the school systems up, bring everybody's property values up, because we're all stuck in this debt, so we need to figure this out.
I'm glad that you brought that up because a lot of people don't see the investment in it, right? They see it as like, oh, this is a payout. Everybody has their hands out. When in reality, you just gave a list of really tangible things that actually help our economy.
I mean, look at the table. You guys just purchased homes. Congrats. What was the first thing you looked at?
What do you mean?
The school system, correct?
Yeah.
Please say that. Yes. That's the only thing you look for. Yeah. You got to check the school system. It's so important.
I was looking at the pool.
Okay.
No, we don't have a pool. I'm just kidding.
You have a community pool.
It definitely was a school system.
Right.
It definitely
Schools
was.
are everything.
Coming up on DBL, right on the heels of the Friends reunion, Matthew Perry calls off his engagement. We'll tell you what we know. Plus, we're talking to legal expert and attorney Dan Abrams. Could Derek Chauvin get a new trial? Well, Dan weighs in. Plus, a personal look at Dr. Fauci through his emails. What his correspondence is revealing about how he handled the first days of the pandemic.
Closed captioning.
Amazon's latest feature is making a lot of headlines because it will automatically enroll anyone who owns one of its devices into a program to share their internet connection. Let's connect the dots. The program is called Amazon Sidewalk. The company says a small portion of your internet bandwidth will be pooled together with small chunks from your neighbors. Amazon says it'll make its devices work better and help locate lost items. This affects people who have Echo devices, Ring floodlight, and Spotlight cameras. It all gets switched on June 8th. The whole point of this is to extend the range of low bandwidth devices. So if your network goes down, your Echo Dot can still work by sharing connectivity with neighbors who have similar devices. It will also help tile trackers work better. Those are the little devices designed to keep track of important items. They can use Amazon Sidewalk to be more efficient and accurate. Obviously, some folks have raised security concerns about this sharing situation. Amazon says it has multiple layers of privacy and security to protect your personal information. But bottom line, you also have the option to opt out. If you have a Ring device, go to the Control Center on the app or their website. If you have an Echo device, go to Settings in the Alexa app.
workers at home during the pandemic. Keep up the great work, everyone. We miss you. Okay, so we are getting some insight into how much pressure Dr. Fauci was under during the pandemic. BuzzFeed News published 3,200 pages of emails he received from January to June of 2020. The emails were from his team, celebrities, even Mark Zuckerberg chimed in about building a coronavirus information hub on Facebook. Or in some cases, they were from complete strangers looking for guidance, like one woman who thought Fauci was being muzzled by Vice President Pence. She wrote, "This is quite terrifying, especially since Trump has already shown his desire to spread false or incomplete information about this public health crisis." She also added, "I'm planning to fly domestically tomorrow. Is it safe?" Fauci responded.
She waited until the last second to send that email.
Fauci responded saying, "There is much misinformation. I actually have not been muzzled at all by the vice president. And by the way, it is safe to fly domestically." Okay, so first of all, we have Erica back. Erica Cobb is back in the house. There she is. Okay, so Erica, what do you make of all these emails?
Man, first of all, that makes my anxiety just trigger like through the roof. But Dr. Fauci has always been a medical professional who understood the assignment, okay? Even when he was under all of this scrutiny, things were politicized. People were calling him a liar or saying that he didn't know what he was talking about. He maintained communication with the American public, even at times when our elected officials didn't maintain that communication. So it's not surprising that he was receiving thousands of emails to which he was actually replying to. I commend him. He did an amazing job.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, please.
Well, I just was going to take it in a different direction.
Please.
Here. You know what I mean? Because if you want to question where this virus came from, you're automatically labeled a Trumper, a non-supporter, you're far-right Republican. Why can't you question that? I asked our very own Dr. Coley on the show that very same question. 2 labs in Wuhan that are studying this virus, that's where it came from? That's not an intelligent question to ask.
Well, President Biden agrees with you.
Yeah.
President Biden right now, I'm glad you brought this up.
But it's so taboo to talk about. And we're talking about an email that some lady, we're talking about some lady that just wrote about the weather. I don't care about that. There's someone challenging him saying, hey, listen, thanks for downplaying the Wuhan virus. That's the one we should have showed. But that's what everyone's talking about. That's the email everyone's talking about.
That's a fair thing. I mean, Jeff, I'll say this, and I can't defend Dr. Fauci, but I will say that we dealt with a lot of this with H1N1. So the fact that somebody might have been playing with this in a lab is very plausible. Right. Very plausible. That's why we had such a head start on getting the cure. Now, what I will say to that is, at some point, it didn't matter. Because no matter where it came from, I wasn't sitting this close to you. You weren't hugging your mama. You weren't getting on a flight to go see anybody. So there's 2 different things. Your question is valid and fascinating, and there will be a documentary made of it, I'm sure.
Right. And it doesn't take away that I didn't wear a mask or I'm not getting vaccinated.
You have every right to ask that question.
Isn't that intelligent?
But there are people that will immediately think that you somehow doubt. However, President Biden and his administration have announced that they are committed to finding and looking back and reinvestigating to find out where the origins are. So you're not alone in that. Anything else? And I feel like we just went on a tangent, but I like that. That's what the show's about. But
I wanted to get off, and again, I'm not questioning Dr. Fauci and how he handled the virus and playing Monday morning quarterback to look back and judge him. I'm just saying, to question something like that just because that's what Trump believed, and now all of a sudden you're labeled a Trumper, that's ignorant to put those 2 together.
Take the politics out of it and just find the origin. I totally agree with you. I will say something that I've noticed, because my family has experienced so much close connection with doctors over the last 5 months in regard to Eric, my brother-in-law. We've noticed that certain, like the upper echelon of doctors, Dr. Coley's one of them. I don't know Dr. Fauci personally, but they have this almost like need and desire to constantly respond and get back to people. Right. Like it's in like poor Dr. Fauci, Dr. Coley's up all night responding to people. And I feel like it's almost like within their makeup where they just have to make sure that they go above and beyond, but to what cost?
And I applaud them.
Yeah. But to what cost? They got to protect themselves too, because that's insanity, that many emails. Coming up on DBL, inside the twisted mind of convicted killer Jodi Arias. We're talking to the psychologist who defended her in court in True Crime Chronicles. And next, legal expert Dan Abrams, he's weighing in on the Derek Chauvin murder trial and whether he'll get a retrial.
Are you?
A viewer sent us an email that says they've seen multiple posts online that claim that COVID-19 has a 99.9% recovery rate. It's not true.
I don't know where that number comes from.
Our sources are Dr. Kausar Talat, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Aditi Narukar, a physician from the Harvard Medical School, and the COVID-19 statistics from the CDC. The latest numbers for the CDC show of the more than 33 million cases in the United States, more than 595,000 people have died.
So you can say 98% of people who get COVID don't die, but 2% do. And then those 2% are almost 600,000 people in the United States alone. And that's 600,000 family members and relatives.
However, our experts also say the number of COVID-19 deaths may be underreported.
One of the key reasons is because when the health system is burdened from surges, it's difficult to track which deaths were due to an emerging infectious disease, in this case, COVID.
Finally, if 99.9% of COVID-19 cases recovered, that would mean only around 3,300 people would have died. Instead, it's closer to 600,000 people that died. So this 99.9% claim is false. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. Courts are some of the most heated rooms a person can be in, but what happens when the accused takes the witness stand? Earlier, Tori Now spoke with Dan Abrams to talk about his new show, Under Oath, which seeks to answer that very question. That's today's DBL Spotlight. Dan Abrams, it is always a pleasure. Welcome back to DBL. We cannot wait to talk to you about your new show, Court Cam Presents Under Oath. First of all, great title. But first, we just want to pick your brain a little bit because we love it so much on the show about the state of law enforcement in America today. So I just want to ask a question our viewers have. Derek Chauvin's lawyer has filed a motion for a new trial, arguing that some errors were made that violated Mr. Chauvin's rights. And we all wanted to know, according to you, how likely is it that Derek Chauvin will get a new trial?
I think it's very unlikely he'll get a new trial. This is a fairly typical appeal. I think this judge was pretty careful in his rulings. I think that the one issue a lot of people have been talking about was about this juror, where there was a picture of him at an event with his family. And, the question is not going to be, was this juror, sort of inclined to one side or another? It's going to be, did the juror lie in the context of jury selection? And his position is, when I was asked the question, had I been in a police protest? I didn't think of it as a police protest. I thought of it as an MLK celebration. And the key is going to be, in a separate question, he was asked, what do you think of Black Lives Matter? And he said he had a very positive view of it. That's going to help him because it seems honest.
Yeah, right.
And as a result, I don't think that there's going to be any action taken.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, well, this next question is such a, I wouldn't say loaded question, but such a deep question. I don't know why we would have any after this. But how would you recommend that police departments rebuild their relationships with local communities?
Well, look, I think a lot of the proposals out there make a lot of sense. I mean, having police officers who live in the communities, I think, can be very valuable. I think that's very important.
All right, let's talk Court Cam. Tell us about the show in general.
The new series is called Court Cam Under Oath, which is all about defendants who take the witness stand in their own defense. And when a defendant takes the witness stand in their own defense, the case all then comes down to the credibility of that person. And it's very rare for defendants to take the witness stand in their own defense. And there's a reason for that, because prosecutors are very tough on defendants who take the witness stand in their own defense. So what makes this series so compelling, I think, is that you get to see the defendant explaining why he or she didn't do it or he or she shouldn't be responsible. And you also hear from the juror and the prosecutor and the defense as to what they're thinking.
I want to just know from Dan Abrams' point of view, if you could be a prosecutor on a cross-examination or a defense attorney, which is your favorite? Which would you prefer to be? Do you like to go for the jugular or?
I'd rather be a
prosecutor.
Yeah, I mean, the prosecutor is the more interesting one when the defendant is testifying, because look, it's interesting because the defense will question their witness, and a lot of the time you come out of it, you say, oh wow, that sounds like a pretty interesting explanation, seems plausible. And then the prosecutor will come up and poke all sorts of holes in it. And you'll say, oh, wait, now I get it. And so I think that's why being the prosecutor in these cases can be more interesting.
Be sure to catch Dan's new show, Court Cam Presents Under Oath. It's on tonight on A&E. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration.
Verify exists to bring you the full context for things you see on social media. For example, tweets like this saying that flu cases this past season dropped dramatically from 38 million to just over 2,000. So let's verify. Did the US see a drastic decline in flu cases in the most recent flu season? Our source is the CDC, which tracks flu statistics every year. And it turns out that this is true, but those numbers need some context. The CDC uses a complex mathematical model to estimate the number of flu cases and deaths every year based on a number of factors. They came up with 38 million cases and 22,000 deaths for the 2019-2020 flu season. But a CDC spokesperson told us that the flu cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were so low in the 2020-2021 season that the CDC can't calculate an estimate. The CDC website reports 1,899 cases based on their surveillance system, but the agency told us via email that this number does not capture every case. So while we can't verify the exact number of flu cases this past season, we can verify that the decrease in cases has been massive, from 38 million to a couple thousand. Now, the CDC says that this reduction is likely due to many factors, from decreased travel and shutdowns that kept people away from work and school, to social distancing and record flu shots administered. In the end, they say it's just difficult to track down which factor was most important. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov, 5 on your side.
Tomorrow on DBL, comedian Larry the Cable Guy and his wife Kara, why the couple that laughs together stays together.
Get her done.
That's tomorrow right here on DBL.
Okay, if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Matthew Perry calls off his engagement to his fiancée. But is there more to the story? Plus, a new look into the mind of Jodi Arias from her former psychologist. He's talking to us right here on DBL. You do not want to miss this special True Crime Chronicles. And thank you to our coworkers watching from home right now. There you all are. Peter! DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al, Erica in her pink with her cute little shoulder puffs. You have like little shoulder angles.
Is that the technical term?
I'm trying to do the large shoulders, small waist thing, you know.
It reminds
it's all
me of
optical illusion.
Oh, honey, you do have a nice tight waist.
All right. Erica, meet me in HR with Sam in about 30 minutes.
Okay. All right, but you look fabulous, Erica. That was my point. All right, so Matthew Perry has called off his engagement. In a statement to People magazine, Matthew confirmed he and Molly Hurwitz broke up, saying, quote, "Sometimes things just don't work out, and this is one of them." He also wished Molly the best. The two had been engaged since last November. Matthew's health has been a topic of interest since appearing on the Friends reunion special last week. His speech appeared slurred, but that was reportedly due to emergency dental surgery. And let me tell you, what are you thinking? Because there is a whole thing going, and it breaks my heart. Someone that knows addiction very well, to see either here's the two scenarios, and I hate even speculating on someone's sobriety when you're not in it, right? He either has fallen off the wagon, and that is heartbreaking, or the poor guy has done so good with his sobriety, coincidentally gets some dental treatment, and now everybody's taking away his hard work by saying he slipped up.
Yeah, Erica, let me ask you a question. I've been sober for 541 days.
Woo!
If I came in here, thank you. If I came in here slurring tomorrow, and then you confronted me about it off air, and I told you I just got some dental surgery, what percentage of truth would you give that?
Well, Al, listen, I know you, okay? So if I'm actually asking you the question, it's coming from a place of true concern, and if I'm actually inquiring, it's so that I can figure out how I can help. If you tell me that it's dental surgery and I have no other reason to believe anything else based on your behavior, then that's what I'm going to make the assessment on. But the truth is, if I came to you and said that, it would be because I've seen other red flags and now I'm addressing the situation in a point of empathy. So I do appreciate what Sam said in terms of like how she set this up, because sobriety is so personal, and to conflate his relationship issues with all of this other fodder is really of help to no one.
Yeah, and let's give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, it looks like he did have dental surgery, right? So it looked like that. And then if it wasn't, like Al's saying, there's a lot of people who saw that reunion. A lot of people close to him and say, Matt, I haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. Just wanted to reach out and talk to you. So hopefully, if something is going on, he does get the help he needs by people close to him. And if not, maybe it's just dental surgery.
Right. And if it is, you know, there should be, addiction is a daily struggle.
Right.
If he falls off, if that's the case, then he's just got to get right back up, and he needs to go, you know, utilize those tools that he learned in recovery and in rehab. So let's not, if that is the case, let's not penalize him.
To anybody that's in recovery, really quickly, one thing that I used to run a men's sobriety group, and one of the guys said, and I remember this, he was like, think about sobriety as a marathon. If you stub your toe on the 19th mile, you don't hang your head and go back to the starting line. You tape it up and you keep running.
Exactly.
So if he did fall off, that's part of this. So that's okay.
It's a lifelong battle. Let's remember that. Okay, so Anna Faris is opening up about marrying at a young age and has some advice for her son. She first married actor Ben Indra back in 2004 when she was just 27. But her most publicized relationship, of course, and breakup was to Chris Pratt. The former couple have an 8-year-old son, Jack, and she recently used her own experience to drop a bit of a bombshell to her podcast guest. Take a listen.
If I could tell my 8-year-old son one thing that maybe he would stick to, I would really encourage him to not get married in his 20s. It should be illegal.
Okay, so what do you think, Jeff?
Listen, teach their own, right? If you find love in your 20s and you're happy, be happy, right? But I think more and more the world is changing in this. My parents just celebrated their 50-year anniversary.
Oh,
I don't know how many of those we're going to see in the future, right? There's so much temptation out there. I dated before the whole dating app. I've been with my wife Jordan for 12 years, so I didn't even download one of those apps. That's a lot of temptation. If you're dating someone for 3 months and it could be the one and you're messing around these apps, there goes that relationship.
That's interesting. So social components has a lot to do with it.
At least in my eyes.
Okay. I also think it depends on, and maybe I'm wrong, where you live. I see like in cities like New York and LA, a lot of people are, you know, maybe more interested in dating or their job. Not to say that that doesn't happen in smaller communities, but I feel like the smaller towns, they tend to settle down much quicker. Am I wrong, Erica?
I agree with you. I'm a Midwest girl, and all of my friends got married in their 20s, including myself, and I ended up subsequently getting divorced. But my other friends are still married, and I think, you know, especially when you are, I'm going to say traditional, but I don't mean it in like how we all take it now, but like, you know, you're really close to where you grew up, and you have all of this support, you know, around you. I think that's a big part of it too. Like, I struck it out on my own, and you learn really quickly who you are, and that evolves. You know, it evolves more when you don't have that support as close. So I do think that demographics can weigh apart.
But should it be illegal?
Obviously, it should not be illegal. And
would you warn your children?
Yes.
Really?
I would. And this is why. I feel like you're a different person every 10 years until you're about 40. That when you're 40, you kind of settle in. I like my golf on Thursdays. I like to have my coffee and toast, and this is what I like, and this is what I don't like.
40? Golf on Thursday?
Well, yeah.
Chris, gotta go to work, buddy.
I know, but like after work. But I think when you're 20, you could be really artsy, and then when you're 29, you're like, I want to do the Peace Corps, and then 31, I want to be a DJ. Like, you go through these things, and then you figure out who you are. Yeah, Peace Corps. They only give you $800 on the way out. You can't do it.
I wanted to do the Peace Corps as a kid.
I could see you do it.
I was in Peace Child.
That's not a thing.
Yes,
that was
it is
that was
a
a failed
thing.
band. No.
I could see you like on the rapids, like saving the whales, you know, like on those boats where they're all
That's
bundled up.
Greenpeace, not Peace Child.
I could see you on there.
What are you trying to say, Greenpeace or Peace Child?
Both, but I was a
There's
peace
no
child.
Peace Child. You can't just say.
There's a thing called peace child.
If you can prove it by the end of the show, this will be my
I
last
was in
day. I will
first
quit.
grade. I wore a white dress. I had a flower crown. I had
That
a
was a
banjo,
movie. That was a
and we would go
You're
down.
describing the Marilyn Manson kid.
No, the peace child. I still remember one song in Russian.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, now we got something for the end.
It's true. It's true. I was a peace child, and I'm proud. Coming up on DBL, we're talking to. Okay, get it together,
All
Shocker.
right.
We are talking to the doctor who helped defend infamous killer, stop it, Jodi Arias, years ago. New revelations into her mind next in True Crime Chronicles. And our DBL staff working hard at home during the pandemic. We'll be right back. Closed cap.
Amazon's latest feature is making a lot of headlines because it will automatically enroll anyone who owns one of its devices into a program to share their internet connection. Let's connect the dots. The program is called Amazon Sidewalk. The company says a small portion of your internet bandwidth will be pooled together with small chunks from your neighbors. Amazon says it'll make its devices work better and help locate lost items. This affects people who have Echo devices, Ring floodlight, and Spotlight cameras. It all gets switched on June 8th. The whole point of this is to extend the range of low bandwidth devices. So if your network goes down, your Echo Dot can still work by sharing connectivity with neighbors who have similar devices. It will also help tile trackers work better. Those are the little devices designed to keep track of important items. They can use Amazon Sidewalk to be more efficient and accurate. Obviously, some folks have raised security concerns about this sharing situation. Amazon says it has multiple layers of privacy and security to protect your personal information. But bottom line, you also have the option to opt out. If you have a Ring device, go to the Control Center on the app or their website. If you have an Echo device, go to Settings in the Alexa app.
Jodi Arias is one of America's most notorious killers. She was convicted of murdering her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander in 2008. The heinous crime is the subject of a Discovery Plus documentary with interviews from the psychologist who defended Jodi. We actually spoke with him, but first, here is a refresher on the case.
Jodi Arias met Travis Alexander at a conference in 2006. They dated long distance on and off for nearly 2 years. In June 2008, Travis is found dead at home, stabbed 27 times and shot in the head. Police found Jodi's DNA in the home and a digital camera with sexually explicit images of the two. When Jodi was questioned,
One of the things that she did was sing, and another one was stand on her head.
Thought that perhaps it was her way to get her cheeks flushed. It's kind of a modeling trick, you know, to flush your cheeks before your photograph. She was an odd person.
she she gave investigators 3 different stories. First, she claimed she was out of town. Then she changed her story, saying an intruder broke in. And later, she admitted to killing Travis in self-defense. In 2008, Jody was indicted by a grand jury for the first-degree murder of Travis Alexander. Her trial began 5 years later and lasted 4 months. 38 witnesses testified, including Jody, who spent 18 days on the stand.
I don't remember.
She tried to convince the jury she killed Travis in self-defense.
I grabbed the gun. I ran out of the closet. He was chasing me. I turned around and we were in the middle of the bathroom. I pointed it at him with both of my hands. I thought that would stop him.
The prosecution presented mounds of evidence that the murder was premeditated. Dr. Robert Geffner was called in by the defense on the last day of trial as a last-ditch effort to avoid Jody's conviction.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. He argued Jody suffered from PTSD and acute stress, causing her to lose control. After 15 hours of deliberation,
We, the jury, find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder, guilty.
but the jury could not agree on sentencing Jody to death or life in prison. So a retrial was granted in 2014. A few months later, the jury could not reach a unanimous decision again. So the judge declared it another mistrial and sentenced Jody to life in prison without parole.
And earlier, Eric and I spoke with the psychologist you just saw in that story. Take a look. We are here with Dr. Robert Geffner, the clinical psychologist who examined Jody Arias and testified in her trial. Thank you for coming on DBL. So you were called in on the last day of the trial by the defense. This was a huge case in the news. A majority of people already believe she was guilty, as Jody herself admitted, and not a victim of PTSD. So what was that pressure like to defend Jody?
My main role in that last day that you mentioned was really to explain to the jury how the prosecutor's expert, and I use that word loosely, completely screwed up the testing that they gave, misinterpreted her own results, gave outdated, obsolete information, and that her results were more consistent with trauma and PTSD than what she had said.
Yeah, and you know, I did cover this trial for HLN, so I do remember when you came in on that second trial during her sentencing trial. Here's the thing, and I'm going to push back here.
Okay.
You believe that she suffered from PTSD. Now, you also believe that she was not a liar, right? If I remember correctly, during your testimony, when Jody lied over and over and over again to the police, number one, about her whereabouts, when people first questioned her about her role in the, I'm going to call it a triple murder of Travis Alexander. Now, and then she changed her story, even though she went to his house, traveled from California to Arizona, went to his house with her hair dyed to remain undetected, with cans of gasoline in her car. Then she says 2 individuals came in, ninjas, those were her words, and attacked she and Travis Alexander. Only when the evidence was presented to her 2 years later did she finally admit that she is a pathological liar. That's on tape.
So the first thing about the lying is they used a test to say she lied on it, and her results on that test indicated she had not. Her test results given by the prosecutor's expert and the other experts in the case who had worked with her, they were consistent with trauma. That was what I said. They weren't consistent with somebody who was psychopathic or somebody who was borderline, which is what they were arguing. Everything you said is exactly what the prosecutor portrayed and pushed. Her being jealous, her basically planning to go down there undetected, I think is the word you just used. None of that was accurate. It was Travis who invited her down. It was Jody who actually broke off the relationship. And you have that in her journals and emails and texts. You also have Jody moving away.
That's her narrative. But go ahead.
No,
Erica.
that's the record. No, back up.
The record's based on her diaries. The record's
and
based
the
on her
emails
diaries.
and texts. and the emails and texts back and forth between her and Travis.
I could also present other emails, texts back and forth that also speaks to his narrative. But Erica, please chime in.
Well, Dr. Geffner, I did not cover the trial for HLN.
Okay.
So my curiosity is more about the nature of your relationship with Jodi, because obviously we, the public, don't know her on an interpersonal level,
Right.
but you do. So what was it about Jodi that, one, has you believing her when so many people do not believe her story? And how did you go about coming to your findings in terms of if she was a credible person to support or not?
It wasn't a question of believing Jodi or not believing Jodi. I mean, when we deal with these cases, credibility of a person is always at question, which is why we do a whole variety of different tests and questionnaires to actually look specifically at credibility, at malingering, at all those things. She passed almost all those things. There is no doubt that she lied at the beginning, that she made up stories. Unfortunately, those things did not help her at all.
Dr. Geffner, I listen, I'm just really uncomfortable considering I'm always going to be one to stick up for someone that is a victim of abuse. And I really appreciate you taking that role. And I know that you're sticking your neck out and your career out by doing that. But I also think it's important to note to our viewers who are not familiar with this case, yes, you may have interviewed people that felt like that she was a victim of abuse, but then there's also other people that have said that she was 100%, in so many words, psychotic. So I just want to, I'm not discrediting anything that you're saying, and I really appreciate you coming on the phone on our show and presenting this side. But I also want to make sure that our viewers watching, and also Travis Alexander's family and Travis Alexander's legacy, I mean, he can't defend himself. I think it's important to note when you say those things for me to push back and also let our viewers know that she also did some very questionable things that raised a lot of red flags, not only with Travis Alexander, but his family and his friends.
Wait a minute, now you push back, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but let me do the same. So one of the things you need to look at is not what the people are saying at the trial. It's what they said prior to the trial. Now, the people you talked about who testified at the trial changed their stories. If you look at their emails and texts from a year before, it was a whole different story.
And Jodi,
one of them,
Jodi changed her stories multiple times too.
My turn. One of them actually warned Jodi about the manipulation and the problems with Travis.
And many of Travis's friends warned him about the manipulation of Jodi. Considering the heinousness of the crime, considering all these nuanced details, we don't have enough time to cover it all. I wish that we could have you on longer, Dr. Geffner, and I really do appreciate you going back and forth with me. And to hear more from Dr. Geffner, you can watch the brand new 2-hour documentary, If I Can't Have You, the Jodi Area Story. It's streaming this Friday, February 12th on Discovery Plus. Dr. Geffner, thank you for being here. We'll be right back.
You're welcome. Take care.
We all know that movement is like medicine.
A viewer sent us an email that says they've seen multiple posts online that claim that COVID-19 has a 99.9% recovery rate. It's not true.
I don't know where that number comes from.
Our sources are Dr. Kausar Talat, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Aditi Narukar, a physician from the Harvard Medical School, and the COVID-19 statistics from the CDC. The latest numbers for the CDC show of the more than 33 million cases in the United States, more than 595,000 people have died.
So you can say 98% of people who get COVID don't die, but 2% do. And those 2% are almost 600,000 people in the United States alone. And that's 600,000 family members and relatives.
However, our experts also say the number of COVID-19 deaths may be underreported.
One of the key reasons is because when the health system is burdened from surges, it's difficult to track which deaths were due to an emerging infectious disease, in this case, COVID.
Finally, if 99.9% of COVID-19 cases recovered, that would mean only around 3,300 people would have died. Instead, it's closer to 600,000 people that died. So this 99.9% claim is false. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to landscaping, did you know some improvement projects can actually hurt the value of your home? Oh no, we're doing that right now. We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck presented by The Hartford. So artificial grass is low maintenance, but the grass wears out quickly and the replacement cost is pricey. Water features can actually decrease your home value by $2,000 to $10,000. Finally, avoid a big concrete patio. Rain will easily collect in puddles and can put visitors in danger. But a well-maintained garden, trees, and lighting can boost your home's value. So when it comes to quality and affordable home insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. We're really into like trimming bushes and stuff right now and digging holes and stuff.
You're gonna think I'm lying.
I'm loving it.
Dug 3 holes and planted 3 bushes.
Oh my gosh, it's a big job. Mark planted 2. Mark dug 2 holes yesterday. Took him all day.
I'm serious.
I know. It takes all day.
The booth just said rap, and I don't think I've ever wanted to hear a word more. No, it's really relaxing. I'll give you that.
Not so much. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Well, look at you. You mastered the master bath. You created your own style.
Verify exists to bring you the full context for things you see on social media. For example, tweets like this saying that flu cases this past season dropped dramatically from 38 million to just over 2,000. So let's verify. Did the US see a drastic decline in flu cases in the most recent flu season? Our source is the CDC, which tracks flu statistics every year. And it turns out that this is true, but those numbers need some context. The CDC uses a complex mathematical model to estimate the number of flu cases and deaths every year based on a number of factors. They came up with 38 million cases and 22,000 deaths for the 2019-2020 flu season. But a CDC spokesperson told us that the flu cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were so low in the 2020-2021 season that the CDC can't calculate an estimate. The CDC website reports 1,899 cases based on their surveillance system, but the agency told us via email that this number does not capture every case. So while we can't verify the exact number of flu cases this past season, we can verify that the decrease in cases has been massive, from 38 million to a couple thousand. Now, the CDC says that this reduction is likely due to many factors, from decreased travel and shutdowns that kept people away from work and school, to social distancing and record flu shots administered. In the end, they say it's just difficult to track down which factor was most important. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov, 5 on your side.
Erica's back and she's got some comments.
I do. Yolanda says, I've been married to my husband since we were 26, and we just celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary.
Yes,
Congratulations,
I love
y'all. Millicent says, to each their own. If you want to marry young, marry young. If you want to wait, do you, boo. And Nancy says, when it comes to love and marriage, when you know, you know.
Oh.
I think, I mean, that sounds like cliche, but it's true. You just kind of know. You said you knew when you met Mark?
I knew at the Saddle Ranch.
No questions about your singing. This is all about like marriage.
Can you take us out with a Russian song?
I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
I think
Someone
you
at
were.
home that knows Russian is probably like, that's not how it goes.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
У меня мечта, что будет мир, мечта у меня. And goodbye.
On Daily Blast Live.
Terrifying video of a teen fighting off a bear to protect her dogs. What she's saying about it today.
She drops my dog and I run out of there.
Will Derek Chauvin's conviction stand? Legal expert Dan Abrams weighs in. How likely is it that Derek Chauvin will get a new trial? In today's True Crime Chronicles, Jodi Arias, one of America's most notorious killers. The fiery debate with her former psychologist on DBL today. That's her narrative. But go ahead.
No,
Erica.
that's the record. No, back up. Back up.
The record's based on her diaries. And a major surprise on a college graduation day that the students did not see coming.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
2. Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, June 2nd. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Okay, you guys, so we have quite the day full of videos, and there was one video. Was it you that showed me yesterday of the bear?
No, Erica showed me.
Well, Jeff and I had quite the reaction. We're going to show the viewers, and then we have a question for you. So number one, if you saw a wild animal attacking your dog, what would you do? Would you fight to protect your furry friend? I wonder what Al would do.
I think you know.
Okay, so we want you guys to check out the video that Jeff and I saw yesterday, but I know it's still dominating everybody's social feeds. There it is. There is a bear, you guys, okay? Look at that. Oh my, I can't even take my eyes off this video. So the bear is along the wall. That's when the dogs start confronting the intruder. That's a 17-year-old girl. She ran out to check on her dogs, took on the bear, pushing it off the wall, and she got her dogs and runs back inside to safety. So that girl has now posted an update on TikTok talking about what happened. Check it out.
Her name is Valentina. She is the baby, and as her slave, I have to protect her, so I go over to the bear, I look it in the eyes, and the first thing I think to do is push it. Push a bear, push an apex predator, man. And to be honest, I don't think I push her that hard. I just pushed her enough to make her lose her balance. So she drops my dog and I run out of there. I grab my other dog, I sprained my finger and screwed my knee, but we're all okay. We're over here.
What just happened? So
I want the transcript of that.
It's a generational gap between us and her. So what do you think of this video, and would you take on a mama bear to protect your dogs? Let's start with you, Al, because you think I know what you would do.
I would not. I get it, and I know that they're fur mamas and fur babies, but when you have real babies, there's something instinctual that's just I need to stay alive to get them to college. And then after that, I'm playing with house money. But I can't be fighting bears, Jeff, because if something happens, God forbid, I want to say I'd be a hero, but I'm are the kids inside? The animals got claws. Good luck. What do you mean to do? I don't have claws on our teeth.
Are you kidding me? You would just sit there and watch your fur baby get mauled by a bear?
No, I turned the music up so the kids didn't hear anything.
Jeff?
Yeah, I wanted to take Al's exact answer. When you have children, okay?
I have children, and I would not hesitate if my...
Okay, let's play the flip side of this coin. I know we're having fun. You're dead because you pushed the bear off the wall, and now your
that's a brown bear. They're violent.
Don't have a mother,
You're right.
and they have no one to support them. And your dog's going to die in 4 years.
My dog just died. She was 18.
Okay, but
so, you're
that's
right.
the flip side of the coin.
You're absolutely right. But I know that my dog Baby, who passed away 4 months ago,
Shout out to Baby.
Shout out to Baby. I still have a hole in my heart. I considered her like my 18-year-old kid. Are you right that I would never forgive myself from the grave, saying why would I do that? And now Sophie and Miles don't have their mom. I just know in that split second, I would not be able to watch Baby get mauled. I would probably do something stupid and go right after that bear, and that's not the right decision, but I know for a fact I would not be able to see Baby
I'd be
get mauled.
concerned. Yeah. I'd be like Mickey in the corner. Go get him, Rock. Yeah. Go get him. But, Rocky lost.
I would say, Jeff, first one. Both can be true. What you're saying is exactly right, but if I had to bet every dime I've ever made and every piece of money I'll ever make in the future that Sam would do that, I swear she would do that.
Well, it wouldn't be the right thing to do.
I know, but I know that she would do it.
But there's no way I'd let Baby get mauled. No way. Poor
Good luck
Baby.
to that bear.
I miss Baby.
Baby's still out there. Spirits.
I know. I do feel her. Okay, so we didn't get a chance to mention it yesterday, but June is Pride Month. So happy Pride to all our LGBTQ plus friends. We love you. We support you. So speaking of Pride, there's a video that's gone viral out of Washington State showing what happened to a boat after its passengers were allegedly harassing another group flying a pride flag from their boat. So karma appears to have hit the homophobic boaters who apparently taunted the boat of the LGBTQ people with at one point a woman even flicked them off, but then their boat burst into flames, okay? Everyone on that boat had to abandon ship. The boat with the pride flag took the high ground, helped them get out of the water. So this video has many of you asking, is this karma? Do you believe in karma? DBL Nation, we always want to hear from you. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Whew, that is karma, in my opinion.
The definition
Jeff,
of karma.
What do you do?
You help them onto that boat, and you treat them with hospitality, and you turn them. That's exactly what you do. You turn them. Hey, what's going on? You didn't like me. You were giving me the finger for whatever reason it is. You come on my boat, have a beer, chill out. We just saved you, by the way. Now what do you think of me and my choices in life?
Amen.
Yeah.
Do you even believe in karma? I feel like you're such a practical, logical person that you don't believe in things like karma.
I don't.
You don't?
No. Are you serious?
Dude, there's things
you guys
out there,
believe
buddy.
in magic? We did
It's
something
not
with
magic.
psychics, and you guys believe that by grown adult friends.
When you trip and fall on the way home, that's karma, buddy.
Because the city didn't maintain the sidewalk. I don't think it's karma. I will say this, we might be looking at this video the wrong way. Maybe those people circling the Pride Bro were actually huge supporters. They put up the middle finger, but they were saying Pride is #1 month for us.
No.
And then they exploded their boat in celebration.
No.
Sam, look at it and tape again.
That's a good take. That's a good take.
Let's see what our viewers say. Do you guys believe in karma? 87% of you agree with Jeff and I. Al? you the lone wolf over there.
But an interesting take nonetheless.
Yes.
Very
As long as I'm interesting, I don't want to be right.
Okay, before we go to break, we've got one last viral video for you. Check out what happened at the graduation ceremony at Wilberforce University in Ohio.
Ohio.
Because you represent the best of your generation, we wish to give you a fresh start. So therefore, the Wilberforce University Board of Trustees has authorized me to forgive any debt.
Wow. A to the men.
Real freedom.
Do you remember graduating from college and you're like, sweet, now I have $60,000 in debt to pay off? Cool.
My parents helped me out, luckily, but I have friends that are very well off, and it wasn't too long ago where like, I just finished paying my student loans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's insane because the interest just builds up, and if you're not making enough money, it never goes away. It never goes away.
It took me like 15 years of waitressing to finally pay off Sally
Sam, you worked that off yourself.
Yeah, Sally Mae is a...
Yeah, they're coming for you. I mean, and it's so weird when we think about student debt. We first of all, we only think about graduates, not people that went 2 years, didn't have enough money, so now they have debt and no degree. And there's people on the other edge, like my buddy who's a doctor who was here a couple weeks ago. He went to Brown and Harvard. Hey, yay, good for you. He graduated Harvard with $500,000 in debt, and who knows what he left Brown with. So it's so much money, and our species is supposed to move forward, and you can't if you can't get married because you guys are both broke. You can't get a house. You cannot contribute to that neighborhood's overall wealth, bring the school systems up, bring everybody's property values up, because we're all stuck in this debt, so we need to figure this out.
I'm glad that you brought that up because a lot of people don't see the investment in it, right? They see it as like, oh, this is a payout. Everybody has their hands out. When in reality, you just gave a list of really tangible things that actually help our economy.
I mean, look at the table. You guys just purchased homes. Congrats. What was the first thing you looked at?
What do you mean?
The school system, correct?
Yeah.
Please say that. Yes. That's the only thing you look for. Yeah. You got to check the school system. It's so important.
I was looking at the pool.
Okay.
No, we don't have a pool. I'm just kidding.
You have a community pool.
It definitely was a school system.
Right.
It definitely
Schools
was.
are everything.
Coming up on DBL, right on the heels of the Friends reunion, Matthew Perry calls off his engagement. We'll tell you what we know. Plus, we're talking to legal expert and attorney Dan Abrams. Could Derek Chauvin get a new trial? Well, Dan weighs in. Plus, a personal look at Dr. Fauci through his emails. What his correspondence is revealing about how he handled the first days of the pandemic.
Amazon's latest feature is making a lot of headlines because it will automatically enroll anyone who owns one of its devices into a program to share their internet connection. Let's connect the dots. The program is called Amazon Sidewalk. The company says a small portion of your internet bandwidth will be pooled together with small chunks from your neighbors. Amazon says it'll make its devices work better and help locate lost items. This affects people who have Echo devices, Ring floodlight, and Spotlight cameras. It all gets switched on June 8th. The whole point of this is to extend the range of low bandwidth devices. So if your network goes down, your Echo Dot can still work by sharing connectivity with neighbors who have similar devices. It will also help tile trackers work better. Those are the little devices designed to keep track of important items. They can use Amazon Sidewalk to be more efficient and accurate. Obviously, some folks have raised security concerns about this sharing situation. Amazon says it has multiple layers of privacy and security to protect your personal information. But bottom line, you also have the option to opt out. If you have a Ring device, go to the Control Center on the app or their website. If you have an Echo device, go to Settings in the Alexa app.
co-workers at home during the pandemic. Keep up the great work, everyone. We miss you. Okay, so we are getting some insight into how much pressure Dr. Fauci was under during the pandemic. BuzzFeed News published 3,200 pages of emails he received from January to June of 2020. The emails were from his team, celebrities, even Mark Zuckerberg chimed in about building a coronavirus information hub on Facebook. Or in some cases, they were from complete strangers looking for guidance, like one woman who thought Fauci was being muzzled by Vice President Pence. She wrote, "This is quite terrifying, especially since Trump has already shown his desire to spread false or incomplete information about this public health crisis." She also added, "I'm planning to fly domestically tomorrow. Is it safe?" Fauci responded.
She waited until the last second to send that email.
Fauci responded saying, "There is much misinformation. I actually have not been muzzled at all by the vice president. And by the way, it is safe to fly domestically." Okay, so first of all, we have Erica back. Erica Cobb is back in the house. There she is. Okay, so Erica, what do you make of all these emails?
Man, first of all, that makes my anxiety just trigger like through the roof. But Dr. Fauci has always been a medical professional who understood the assignment, okay? Even when he was under all of this scrutiny, things were politicized. People were calling him a liar or saying that he didn't know what he was talking about. He maintained communication with the American public, even at times when our elected officials didn't maintain that communication. So it's not surprising that he was receiving thousands of emails to which he was actually replying to. I commend him. He did an amazing job.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, please.
Well, I just was going to take it in a different direction.
Please.
Here. You know what I mean? Because if you want to question where this virus came from, you're automatically labeled a Trumper, a non-supporter, you're far-right Republican. Why can't you question that? I asked our very own Dr. Coley on the show that very same question. 2 labs in Wuhan that are studying this virus, that's where it came from? That's not an intelligent question to ask.
Well, President Biden agrees with you. Yeah. President Biden right now, I'm glad you brought this up.
But it's so taboo to talk about. And we're talking about an email that some lady, we're talking about some lady that just wrote about the weather. I don't care about that. There's someone challenging him saying, hey, listen, thanks for downplaying the Wuhan virus. That's the one we should have showed. But that's what everyone's talking about. That's the email everyone's talking about.
That's a fair thing. I mean, Jeff, I'll say this, and I can't defend Dr. Fauci, but I will say that we dealt with a lot of this with H1N1. So the fact that somebody might have been playing with this in a lab is very plausible. Right. Very plausible. That's why we had such a head start on getting the cure. Now, what I will say to that is at some point it didn't matter because no matter where it came from, I wasn't sitting this close to you. You weren't hugging your mama. You weren't getting on a flight to go see anybody. So there's 2 different things. Your question is valid and fascinating, and there will be a documentary made of it, I'm sure.
Right. And it doesn't take away that I didn't wear a mask or I'm not getting vaccinated.
You have every right to ask that question.
Isn't that intelligent?
But there are people that will immediately think that you somehow doubt. However, President Biden and his administration have announced that they are committed to finding and looking back and reinvestigating to find out where the origins are. So you're not alone in that. Anything else? And I feel like we just went on a tangent, but I like that. That's what the show's about. But
I wanted to get off. And again, I'm not questioning Dr. Fauci and how he handled the virus and playing Monday morning quarterback to look back and judge him. I'm just saying to question something like that just because that's what Trump believed and now all of a sudden you're labeled a Trumper, that's ignorant to put those 2 together. Take the politics
out of it and just find the origin. I totally agree with you. I will say something that I've noticed because, you know, my family has experienced so much close connection with doctors over the last 5 months in regard to Eric, my brother-in-law. We've noticed that certain, like the upper echelon of doctors, Dr. Coley's one of them. I don't know Dr. Fauci personally, but they have this almost like need and desire to constantly respond and get back to people. Right. Like it's in like poor Dr. Fauci. Dr. Coley's up all night responding to people. And I feel like it's almost like within their makeup where they just have to make sure that they go above and beyond, but to what cost?
And I applaud them.
Yeah. But to what cost? They got to protect themselves too, because that's insanity, that many emails. Coming up on DBL, inside the twisted mind of convicted killer Jodi Arias. We're talking to the psychologist who defended her in court in True Crime Chronicles. And next, legal expert Dan Abrams, he's weighing in on the Derek Chauvin murder trial and whether he'll get a retrial.
Are you
A viewer sent us an email that says they've seen multiple posts online that claim that COVID-19 has a 99.9% recovery rate. It's not true.
I don't know where that number comes from.
Our sources are Dr. Kausar Talat, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Aditi Narukar, a physician from the Harvard Medical School, and the COVID-19 statistics from the CDC. The latest numbers for the CDC show of the more than 33 million cases in the United States, more than 595,000 people have died.
So you can say 98% of people who get COVID don't die, but 2% do. And those 2% are almost 600,000 people in the United States alone. And that's 600,000 family members and relatives.
However, our experts also say the number of COVID-19 deaths may be underreported.
One of the key reasons is because when the health system is burdened from surges, it's difficult to track which deaths were due to an emerging infectious disease, in this case, COVID.
Finally, if 99.9% of COVID-19 cases recovered, that would mean only around 3,300 people would have died. Instead, it's closer to 600,000 people that died. So this 99.9% claim is false. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. Courts are some of the most heated rooms a person can be in, but what happens when the accused takes the witness stand? Earlier, Tori and Al spoke with Dan Abrams to talk about his new show, Under Oath, which seeks to answer that very question. That's today's DBL Spotlight.
Dan Abrams, it is always a pleasure. Welcome back to DBL. We cannot wait to talk to you about your new show, Court Cam Presents Under Oath. First of all, great title. But first, we just want to pick your brain a little bit, because we love it so much on the show, about the state of law enforcement in America today. So I just want to ask a question our viewers have. Derek Chauvin's lawyer has filed a motion for a new trial, arguing that some errors were made that violated Mr. Chauvin's rights. And we all wanted to know, according to you, how likely is it that Derek Chauvin will get a new trial?
I think it's very unlikely he'll get a new trial. This is a fairly typical appeal. I think this judge was pretty careful in his rulings. I think that the one issue a lot of people have been talking about was about this juror, where there was a picture of him at an event with his family. And, the question is not going to be, was this juror, sort of inclined to one side or another? It's going to be, did the juror lie in the context of jury selection? And his position is, when I was asked the question, had I been in a police protest? I didn't think of it as a police protest. I thought of it as an MLK celebration. And the key is going to be, in a separate question, he was asked, what do you think of Black Lives Matter? And he said he had a very positive view of it. That's going to help him because it seems honest.
Yeah, right.
And as a result, I don't think that there's going to be any action taken.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, well, this next question is such a, I wouldn't say loaded question, but such a deep question. I don't know why we would have any after this. But how would you recommend that police departments rebuild their relationships with local communities?
Well, look, I think a lot of the proposals out there make a lot of sense. I mean, having police officers who live in the communities, I think, can be very valuable. I think that's very important.
All right, let's talk Court Cam. Tell us about the show in general.
The new series is called Court Cam Under Oath, which is all about defendants who take the witness stand in their own defense. And when a defendant takes the witness stand in their own defense, the case all then comes down to the credibility of that person. And it's very rare for defendants to take the witness stand in their own defense. And there's a reason for that, because prosecutors are very tough on defendants who take the witness stand in their own defense. So what makes this series so compelling, I think, is that you get to see the defendant explaining why he or she didn't do it, or he or she shouldn't be responsible. And you also hear from the juror and the prosecutor and the defense as to what they're thinking.
I want to just know from Dan Abrams' point of view, if you could be a prosecutor on a cross-examination or a defense attorney, which is your favorite? Which would you prefer to be? Do you like to go for the jugular, or?
I'd rather be a
prosecutor.
Yeah, I mean, the prosecutor is the more interesting one when the defendant is testifying, because look, it's interesting because the defense will question their witness, and a lot of the time you come out of it, you say, oh wow, that sounds like a pretty interesting explanation, seems plausible. And then the prosecutor will come up and poke all sorts of holes in it, and you'll say, oh wait, now I get it. And so I think that's why being the prosecutor in these cases can be more interesting.
Be sure to catch Dan's new show, Court Cam Presents Under Oath. It's on tonight on A&E. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify exists to bring you the full context for things you see on social media. For example, tweets like this saying that flu cases this past season dropped dramatically from 38 million to just over 2,000. So let's verify. Did the US see a drastic decline in flu cases in the most recent flu season? Our source is the CDC, which tracks flu statistics every year. And it turns out that this is true, but those numbers need some context. The CDC uses a complex mathematical model to estimate the number of flu cases and deaths every year based on a number of factors. They came up with 38 million cases and 22,000 deaths for the 2019-2020 flu season. But a CDC spokesperson told us that the flu cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were so low in the 2020-2021 season that the CDC can't calculate an estimate. The CDC website reports 1,899 cases based on their surveillance system, but the agency told us via email that this number does not capture every case. So while we can't verify the exact number of flu cases this past season, we can verify that the decrease in cases has been massive, from 38 million to a couple thousand. Now, the CDC says that this reduction is likely due to many factors, from decreased travel and shutdowns that kept people away from work and school, to social distancing and record flu shots administered. In the end, they say it's just difficult to track down which factor was most important. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov, 5 on your side.
Tomorrow on DBL, comedian Larry the Cable Guy and his wife Kara, why the couple that laughs together stays together.
Get her done.
Yeah. That's tomorrow right here on DBL.
Okay, if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Matthew Perry calls off his engagement to his fiancée. But is there more to the story? Plus, a new look into the mind of Jodi Arias from her former psychologist. He's talking to us right here on DBL. You do not want to miss this special True Crime Chronicles. And thank you to our coworkers watching from home right now. There you all are. Peter! DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al, Erica in her pink with her cute little shoulder puffs. You have like little shoulder angles.
Is that the technical term?
I'm trying to do the large shoulders, small waist thing, you know.
It reminds
it's all
me of
optical illusion.
Oh, honey, you do have a nice tight waist. I don't know.
All right. Erica, meet me in HR with Sam in about 30 minutes.
Okay. All right, but you look fabulous, Erica. That was my point. All right, so Matthew Perry has called off his engagement. In a statement to People magazine, Matthew confirmed he and Molly Hurwitz broke up, saying, quote, "Sometimes things just don't work out, and this is one of them." He also wished Molly the best. The two had been engaged since last November. Matthew's health has been a topic of interest since appearing on the Friends reunion special last week. His speech appeared slurred, but that was reportedly due to emergency dental surgery. And let me tell you, what are you thinking? Because there is a whole thing going, and it breaks my heart. Someone that knows addiction very well, to see either here's the two scenarios, and I hate even speculating on someone's sobriety when you're not in it, right? He either has fallen off the wagon, and that is heartbreaking, or the poor guy has done so good with his sobriety, coincidentally gets some dental treatment, and now everybody's taking away his hard work by saying he slipped up.
Yeah, Erica, let me ask you a question. I've been sober for 541 days.
Woo!
If I came in here, thank you. If I came in here slurring tomorrow, and then you confronted me about it off air, and I told you I just got some dental surgery, what percentage of truth would you give that?
Well, Al, listen, I know you, okay? So if I'm actually asking you the question, it's coming from a place of true concern, and if I'm actually inquiring, it's so that I can figure out how I can help. If you tell me that it's dental surgery and I have no other reason to believe anything else based on your behavior, then that's what I'm going to make the assessment on. But the truth is, if I came to you and said that, it would be because I've seen other red flags and now I'm addressing the situation in a point of empathy. So I do appreciate what Sam said in terms of like how she set this up, because sobriety is so personal, and to conflate his relationship issues with all of this other fodder is really of help to no one.
Yeah, and let's give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, it looks like he did have dental surgery, right? So it looked like that. And then if it wasn't, like Al's saying, there's a lot of people who saw that reunion. A lot of people close to him and say, Matt, I haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. Just wanted to reach out and talk to you. So hopefully, if something is going on, he does get the help he needs by people close to him. And if not, maybe it's just dental surgery.
Right. Yes. And if it is, you know, there should be, addiction is a daily struggle.
Right.
If he falls off, if that's the case, then he's just got to get right back up, and he needs to go, you know, utilize those tools that he learned in recovery and in rehab. So let's not, if that is the case, let's not penalize him.
To anybody that's in recovery, really quickly, one thing that I used to run a men's sobriety group, and one of the guys said, and I remember this, he was like, think about sobriety as a marathon. If you stub your toe on the 19th mile, you don't hang your head and go back to the starting line. You tape it up and you keep running.
Exactly.
So if he did fall off, that's part of this. So that's okay.
It's a lifelong battle. Let's remember that. Okay, so Anna Faris is opening up about marrying at a young age and has some advice for her son. She first married actor Ben Indra back in 2004 when she was just 27. But her most publicized relationship, of course, and breakup was to Chris Pratt. The former couple have an 8-year-old son, Jack, and she recently used her own experience to drop a bit of a bombshell to her podcast guest. Take a listen.
If I could tell my 8-year-old son one thing that maybe he would stick to, I would really encourage him to not get married in his 20s. It should be illegal.
Okay, so what do you think, Jeff?
Listen, teach their own, right? If you find love in your 20s and you're happy, be happy, right? But I think more and more the world is changing in this. My parents just celebrated their 50-year anniversary.
Oh,
I don't know how many of those we're going to see in the future, right? There's so much temptation out there. I dated before the whole dating app. I've been with my wife Jordan for 12 years, so I didn't even download one of those apps. That's a lot of temptation. If you're dating someone for 3 months and it could be the one and you're messing around these apps, there goes that relationship.
That's interesting. So social components has a lot to do with it.
At least in my eyes.
Okay. I also think it depends on, and maybe I'm wrong, where you live. I see like in cities like New York and LA, a lot of people are, you know, maybe more interested in dating or their job. Not to say that that doesn't happen in smaller communities, but I feel like the smaller towns, they tend to settle down much quicker. Am I wrong, Erica?
I agree with you. I'm a Midwest girl, and all of my friends got married in their 20s, including myself, and I ended up subsequently getting divorced. But my other friends are still married, and I think, you know, especially when you are, I'm going to say traditional, but I don't mean it in like how we all take it now, but like, you know, you're really close to where you grew up, and you have all of this support, you know, around you. I think that's a big part of it too. Like, I struck it out on my own, and you learn really quickly who you are, and that evolves. You know, it evolves more when you don't have that support as close. So I do think that demographics can weigh a part.
But should it be illegal?
Obviously, it should not be illegal. And
would you warn your children?
Yes.
Really?
I would, and this is why. I feel like you're a different person every 10 years until you're about 40. That when you're 40, you kind of settle in. I like my golf on Thursdays. I like to have my coffee and toast, and this is what I like, and this is what I don't like.
40? Golf on Thursday?
Well, yeah.
Chris, gotta go to work, buddy.
I know, but like after work. But I think when you're 20, you could be really artsy, and then when you're 29, you're like, I want to do the Peace Corps, and then 31, I want to be a DJ. Like, you go through these things, and then you figure out who you are. Yeah, Peace Corps. They only give you $800 on the way out. You can't do it.
I wanted to do the Peace Corps as a kid.
I could see you do it.
I was in Peace Child.
That's not a thing.
Yes,
that was
it is
that was
a
a failed band. No.
I could see you like on the rapids, like saving the whales, like on those boats when they're all bundled up.
That's Greenpeace, not Peace Child.
I could see you on there.
What are you trying to say, Greenpeace or Peace Child?
Both, but I was a
There's
Peace
no
Child.
Peace Child. You can't just say.
There's a thing called Peace Child.
If you can prove it by the end of the show, this will be my last day.
I was in first grade. I wore a white dress. I had a flower crown. I had a banjo, and we would go down.
You're describing the Marilyn Manson kid.
No, the Peace Child. I still remember one song in Russian.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, now we got something for the end.
It's true. It's true. I was a Peace Child, and I'm proud. Coming up on DBL, we're talking to. Okay, get it together, Shocker. Right. We are talking to the doctor who helped defend infamous killer, stop it, Jodi Arias, years ago. New revelations into her mind next in True Crime Chronicles. And our DBL staff working hard at home during the pandemic. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Amazon's latest feature is making a lot of headlines because it will automatically enroll anyone who owns one of its devices into a program to share their internet connection. Let's connect the dots. The program is called Amazon Sidewalk. The company says a small portion of your internet bandwidth will be pooled together with small chunks from your neighbors. Amazon says it'll make its devices work better and help locate lost items. This affects people who have Echo devices, Ring floodlight, and Spotlight cameras. It all gets switched on June 8th. The whole point of this is to extend the range of low bandwidth devices. So if your network goes down, your Echo Dot can still work by sharing connectivity with neighbors who have similar devices. It will also help tile trackers work better. Those are the little devices designed to keep track of important items. They can use Amazon Sidewalk to be more efficient and accurate. Obviously, some folks have raised security concerns about this sharing situation. Amazon says it has multiple layers of privacy and security to protect your personal information. But bottom line, you also have the option to opt out. If you have a Ring device, go to the Control Center on the app or their website. If you have an Echo device, go to Settings in the Alexa app.
To DBL, Jodi Arias is one of America's most notorious killers. She was convicted of murdering her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander in 2008. The heinous crime is the subject of a Discovery Plus documentary with interviews from the psychologist who defended Jodi. We actually spoke with him, but first, here is a refresher on the case.
Jodi Arias met Travis Alexander at a conference in 2006. They dated long distance on and off for nearly 2 years. In June 2008, Travis is found dead at home, stabbed 27 times and shot in the head. Police found Jodi's DNA in the home and a digital camera with sexually explicit images of the two. When Jodi was questioned,
one of the things that she did was sing, and another one was stand on her head.
Thought that perhaps it was her way to get her cheeks flushed. It's kind of a modeling trick, to flush your cheeks before your photograph. She was an odd person.
I didn't hear.
she gave investigators 3 different stories. First, she claimed she was out of town. Then she changed her story, saying an intruder broke in. And later, she admitted to killing Travis in self-defense. In 2008, Jody was indicted by a grand jury for the first-degree murder of Travis Alexander. Her trial began 5 years later and lasted 4 months. 38 witnesses testified, including Jody, who spent 18 days on the stand.
I don't remember.
She tried to convince the jury she killed Travis in self-defense.
I grabbed the gun. I ran out of the closet. He was chasing me. I turned around and we were in the middle of the bathroom. I pointed it at him with both of my hands. I thought that would stop him.
The prosecution presented mounds of evidence that the murder was premeditated. Dr. Robert Geffner was called in by the defense on the last day of trial as a last-ditch effort to avoid Jody's conviction.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. He argued Jody suffered from PTSD and acute stress, causing her to lose control. After 15 hours of deliberation,
We, the jury, find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder, guilty.
but the jury could not agree on sentencing Jody to death or life in prison. So a retrial was granted in 2014. A few months later, the jury could not reach a unanimous decision again. So the judge declared it another mistrial and sentenced Jody to life in prison without parole.
And earlier, Eric and I spoke with the psychologist you just saw in that story. Take a look. We are here with Dr. Robert Geffner, the clinical psychologist who examined Jodi Arias and testified in her trial. Thank you for coming on DBL. So you were called in on the last day of the trial by the defense. This was a huge case in the news. A majority of people already believe she was guilty, as Jodi herself admitted, and not a victim of PTSD. So what was that pressure like to defend Jodi?
My main role in that last day that you mentioned was really to explain to the jury how the prosecutor's expert, and I use that word loosely, completely screwed up the testing that they gave, misinterpreted her own results, gave outdated, obsolete information, and that her results were more consistent with trauma and PTSD than what she had said.
Yeah, and you know, I did cover this trial for HLN, so I do remember when you came in on that second trial during her sentencing trial. Here's the thing, and I'm going to push back here.
Okay.
You believe that she suffered from PTSD. Now, you also believe that she was not a liar, right? If I remember correctly, during your testimony, when Jodi lied over and over and over again to the police, number one, about her whereabouts, when people first questioned her about her role in the, I'm going to call it a triple murder of Travis Alexander. Now, and then she changed her story, even though she went to his house, traveled from California to Arizona, went to his house with her hair dyed to remain undetected, with cans of gasoline in her car. Then she says 2 individuals came in, ninjas, those were her words, and attacked she and Travis Alexander. Only when the evidence was presented to her 2 years later did she finally admit that she is a pathological liar. That's on tape.
So the first thing about the lying is they used a test to say she lied on it, and her results on that test indicated she had not. Her test results given by the prosecutor's expert and the other experts in the case who had worked with her, they were consistent with trauma. That was what I said. They weren't consistent with somebody who was psychopathic or somebody who was borderline, which is what they were arguing. Everything you said is exactly what the prosecutor portrayed and pushed. Her being jealous, her basically planning to go down there undetected, I think is the word you just used. None of that was accurate. It was Travis who invited her down. It was Jodi who actually broke off the relationship. And you have that in her journals and emails and texts. You also have Jodi moving away.
That's her narrative. But go ahead.
No,
Erica.
that's the record. No, back up.
The record's based on her diaries. The record's
and
based
the
on her
emails
diaries.
and texts. and the emails and texts back and forth between her and Travis.
I could also present other emails, texts back and forth that also speaks to his narrative. But Erica, please chime in.
Well, Dr. Geffner, I did not cover the trial for HLN.
Okay.
So my curiosity is more about the nature of your relationship with Jodi, because obviously we, the public, don't know her on an interpersonal level,
Right.
but you do. So what was it about Jodi that, one, has you believing her when so many people do not believe her story? And how did you go about coming to your findings in terms of if she was a credible person to support or not?
It wasn't a question of believing Jodi or not believing Jodi. I mean, when we deal with these cases, credibility of a person is always at question, which is why we do a whole variety of different tests and questionnaires to actually look specifically at credibility, at malingering, at all those things. She passed almost all those things. There is no doubt that she lied at the beginning, that she made up stories. Unfortunately, those things did not help her at all.
Dr. Geffner, I listen, I'm just really uncomfortable considering I'm always going to be one to stick up for someone that is a victim of abuse. And I really appreciate you taking that role. And I know that you're sticking your neck out and your career out by doing that. But I also think it's important to note to our viewers who are not familiar with this case, yes, you may have interviewed people that felt like that she was a victim of abuse, but then there's also other people that have said that she was 100%, in so many words, psychotic. So I just want to, not discrediting anything that you're saying, and I really appreciate you coming on the phone, on our show and presenting this side. But I also want to make sure that our viewers watching, and also Travis Alexander's family and Travis Alexander's legacy, I mean, he can't defend himself. I think it's important to note when you say those things for me to push back and also let our viewers know that she also did some very questionable things that raised a lot of red flags, not only with Travis Alexander, but his family and his friends.
Wait a minute, now you push back, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but let me do the same. So one of the things you need to look at is not what the people are saying at the trial. It's what they said prior to the trial. Now, the people you talked about who testified at the trial changed their stories. If you look at their emails and texts from a year before, it was a whole different story.
And Jodi,
one of them,
Jodi changed her stories multiple times too.
My turn. One of them actually warned Jodi about the manipulation and the problems with Travis.
And many of Travis's friends warned him about the manipulation of Jodi. Considering the heinousness of the crime, considering all these nuanced details, we don't have enough time to cover it all. I wish that we could have you on longer, Dr. Geffner, and I really do appreciate you going back and forth with me. And to hear more from Dr. Geffner, you can watch the brand new 2-hour documentary, If I Can't Have You, the Jodi Area Story. It's streaming this Friday, February 12th on Discovery Plus. Dr. Geffner, thank you for being here. We'll be right back.
You're welcome. Take care.
We all know that movement is...
A viewer sent us an email that says they've seen multiple posts online that claim that COVID-19 has a 99.9% recovery rate. It's not true.
I don't know where that number comes from.
Our sources are Dr. Kausar Talat, an epidemiologist from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Aditi Narukar, a physician from the Harvard Medical School, and the COVID-19 statistics from the CDC. The latest numbers for the CDC show of the more than 33 million cases in the United States, more than 595,000 people have died.
So you can say 98% of people who get COVID don't die, but 2% do. And those 2% are almost 600,000 people in the United States alone. And that's 600,000 family members and relatives.
However, our experts also say the number of COVID-19 deaths may be underreported.
One of the key reasons is because when the health system is burdened from surges, it's difficult to track which deaths were due to an emerging infectious disease, in this case, COVID.
Finally, if 99.9% of COVID-19 cases recovered, that would mean only around 3,300 people would have died. Instead, it's closer to 600,000 people that died. So this 99.9% claim is false. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to landscaping, did you know some improvement projects can actually hurt the value of your home? Oh no, we're doing that right now. We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck presented by The Hartford. So artificial grass is low maintenance, but the grass wears out quickly and the replacement cost is pricey. Water features can actually decrease your home value by $2,000 to $10,000. Finally, avoid a big concrete patio. Rain will easily collect in puddles and can put visitors in danger. But a well-maintained garden, trees, and lighting can boost your home's value. So when it comes to quality and affordable home insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. We're really into like trimming bushes and stuff right now and digging holes and stuff.
You're gonna think I'm lying.
I'm loving
just
it.
Dug 3 holes and planted 3 bushes.
Oh my
yesterday.
gosh, it's a big job. Mark planted 2. Mark dug 2 holes yesterday. Took them all day.
I'm serious.
I know. It takes all day.
The booth just said rap, and I don't think I've ever wanted to hear a word more. No, it's really relaxing. I'll give you that.
Not so much. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify exists to bring you the full context for things you see on social media. For example, tweets like this saying that flu cases this past season dropped dramatically from 38 million to just over 2,000. So let's verify. Did the US see a drastic decline in flu cases in the most recent flu season? Our source is the CDC, which tracks flu statistics every year. And it turns out that this is true, but those numbers need some context. The CDC uses a complex mathematical model to estimate the number of flu cases and deaths every year based on a number of factors. They came up with 38 million cases and 22,000 deaths for the 2019-2020 flu season. But a CDC spokesperson told us that the flu cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were so low in the 2020-2021 season that the CDC can't calculate an estimate. The CDC website reports 1,899 cases based on their surveillance system, but the agency told us via email that this number does not capture every case. So while we can't verify the exact number of flu cases this past season, we can verify that the decrease in cases has been massive, from 38 million to a couple thousand. Now, the CDC says that this reduction is likely due to many factors, from decreased travel and shutdowns that kept people away from work and school, to social distancing and record flu shots administered. In the end, they say it's just difficult to track down which factor was most important. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov, 5 on your side.
Welcome back to DBL. Erica's back and she's got some comments.
I do. Yolanda says, I've been married to my husband since we were 26 and we just celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary.
Yes,
Congratulations,
I love
y'all. Millicent says, to each their own. If you want to marry young, marry young. If you want to wait, do you, boo. And Nancy says, when it comes to love and marriage, when you know, you know.
Oh.
I think, I mean, that sounds like cliche, but it's true. You just kind of know. You said you knew when you met Mark?
I knew at the Saddle Ranch.
No questions about your singing. This is all about like marriage.
Can you take us out with a Russian song?
I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
I think
Someone
you
at home
were.
that knows Russian is probably like, that's not how it goes.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
У меня мечта, что будет мир, мечта у меня. Okay, goodbye.